It is indeed a pleasure to have this privilege to play here for you.
Mic check.
We intend to give you a very fine program, so just settle back, relax, and enjoy the moment.
Mic check, mic check. Good morning. Good morning. Ooh, no newsletter. 2-minute late start. We'll see. Hopefully y'all getting these notifications. Today we're going to be discussing, what's a just city? What's a livable city? What's affordable housing? We're going to follow up the affordable housing conversation, and just what I wanted to do was curate as much like, hey, what's up? Obi-Wan Kenobi. What up, new follower? What up, Megsy? Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for addressing the room as people file in. But now I want to talk about rethinking affordability, rethinking housing, rethinking, just centering. I'm going to center the Black perspective, because that's what I have access to. That's what I have intimate knowledge of. But there's a myriad of approaches that we could take when we're talking about affordable housing and what that could look like. When we spoke with Rose on Monday, I think it's a great entree into, I guess, having a larger conversation about reimagining our cities. And it's just so, good morning. Hey, Christy. Hey, Hillary. Good morning. Hey, Allie. Little mama checking in. Good morning. So like the Rose conversation, we're gonna continue our conversation about affordable housing, the fight that KGM is launching, all of that. We're gonna continue that conversation, but I also want to use this space to reimagine, or to start to reimagine what a just city looks like, what an accessible city look like, and then I want to look at international approaches to either livability, sustainability, probably more so livability and affordability. I'm gonna share some content that I love to watch, especially so when I moved into this space, like around Mother's Day. Was that Mother's Day of 2020? Yeah, Mother's Day, yep, right before the protest. So yeah, Mother's Day, yeah, that's when all the Catherine Dennis milk bar bullshit popped off. And when I moved into the space, I started nesting, and so I just started consuming mad, y'all been here, YouTube videos like about everything, whether it's about plant upkeep or like tiny homes. You know how tiny home content is just, that's like everyone's go-to. Like, it's just fun to watch people kind of live an alternate lifestyle. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about these new approaches to like building community. What's up? Rugby, how you doing? Yeah, we're going to talk about those approaches, and I want to put like I want to center the Black experience. I also want to talk about when it comes to affordability and building equity. There's just one news clip that I just watched this morning. It's just coincides with what I want to talk about here, of what the barriers to building equity and Black home ownership. We're going to look into that as well. Yeah. Every time Mika says good morning back, that's what I want you to do. Christy, wave back. Even if I can't see it, I feel it. Yeah. That seriously, on a serious note, that's what I love about Twitch, and what I'm trying to do, I guess, over time. I'm just looking at some stuff before I switch the screen. But one thing I hope that you do is just like, I want to help y'all engage with me, even if it's not in the chat. I feel like y'all engage at home, y'all talk back. And Christy, to that point, so many people message me that they talk back to the screen, like if they watch it later, or like if they watch it in real time. So many people say, "Oh yeah, I just talk back to you like you can hear me." I get that all the time, and it makes me really happy to hear that. Shoot, we already like shake our fists at the news cycle enough. Hopefully you're engaging with. Hopefully I'm encouraging you to engage with the content. Any way you feel. Yeah. All right. I'm just pulling up some articles before I don't want to open up my inbox. All right. But yeah, we're going to talk about that. Let's switch it up. Good morning, LQJ. Megsy, you too. Good morning. So this is one article I saw. This was also kind of I'm going to wedge it into today's live stream when we talk about Just City. We're going to talk about affordability, rethinking affordability. We're going to follow up and look at the articles that published shortly after, we took the call from Rose when discussing Cajun's approach to fighting for, more affordable housing options in Charleston. But this article, I saw this tweeted yesterday, and I said, let me make sure I go back and read it. I have not read it yet, so we're going to read it together. But why does this fit in? Because I'm part of what was a reverse migration. When I chose to leave the Philly metro area, I was done with executive level retail management. I didn't want to be on the VP track at Trader Joe's. Never wanted to be a merchant in general. I had my sister had died about just a year before I decided to move down. So I didn't have any more siblings up in the Northeast. I have nieces and family and friends, but I didn't have any immediate family. So, I was part of a trend of other people, other black people had other reasons, but a lot of folks were migrating from either northern or maybe Midwestern areas, and participating in what we call the reverse migration back to the South, to Alabama, to Mississippi, to South Carolina, North Carolina, especially North Carolina, Virginia. So many people I know that even some people that I managed relocated to Charlotte or other areas from the Philly area. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about these shifts, and there's climate shifts, and there's all these different things that informing the way people live and where people live. Hey, good morning, Brandon. So we're going to talk about, Brandon, you might like this live stream today because we're going to talk about housing. We're going to talk about black people gaining access to housing, black people reimagining, lifestyles and living. So I don't know, Brandon, you might want to, might open the hotline up. Gentle invitation. All right. So since we last spoke, this is an editorial from the Post and Courier's editorial board. So I have not read this. I want to read this with y'all. We're going to talk about this article. The City Paper. I'm trying to do better. I got to do better. So this is the City Paper's editorial board. They also, this published, today. Our View, County Housing Proposal Continues Pledge to Build Affordable Homes and Trust. So we're going to read this. I have not read this. We're going to read this together. And then it was a Wendell Gilliard, I think he also wrote something with Marlon Kempson. Hold on, we're going to get to it. This is the front page of today's Post and Courier. Murder news is unavoidable, inescapable. A lot of really, I'm talking about the real twists and turns, not this dude getting mad mulligans at mad attempts at bail, trying to get bail. Stay where you at. But anyway, it's just two fucking Americas, yo. Third bail hearing, is that commonplace? I don't know, Allie, is that common to get all these chances? I know this is a very complicated case, and I know you don't specialize in this type of law, Allie, but you have a law degree. You practice law, and so I don't know. Is this normal to get all these bail hearings? They made it part of the headline, so I'm assuming that's a talking point or a point of interest. Here we have a philanthropy story in the middle of the Post and Courier. I'm not really interested in it. I hope this young lady is getting all the resources that she needs, but I'm not really interested in that. What's the headline? Celebration of Giving. All right. Below the fold down here, boom, vaccine mandate ban advances. We're going to get into that, but passage unlikely. Right over here to the far right, we have Senators remap new district in West Ashley. We definitely going to read that together. Let's read. I might have to reopen the whole page, the whole story. Over here, too, tax hike in Charleston wins initial approval. Damn, it's we got to read this whole. Yeah. And then I tried to find videos of, because this is a visual medium. I tried to find videos that break this down on some reporting. I ain't seen it. Allie, in response to the Murdaugh getting a third bail hearing, you're saying very rare. And you do specialize. I didn't know if you specialize in, Susanna's in here. Susanna and Allie, tag team. Hey, good morning, B-Man. Got that B-Man honey in here. With some crushed ginger and some lemon, organic lemon juice. Thank you, B-Man. Yeah, so you said you do specialize in this type of stuff. I heard you, Your Honor. Your Honor, may I approach? I got to get like Law and Order sound effects. That's what I need. I need the Law and Order theme song and a gavel. Dun dun. It's coming. Dead ass. All right, Suzanne, you says pretty unusual too. All right, they must be arguing there's a change in circumstances. Thank you for co-signing, Allie co-signed what you just said. Susanna, you went on to say you get one bond reconsideration right away. If there's no change in circumstances after that, you have to wait 6 months. Yeah. Dum dum. All right. I wonder if I get popped for copyright if I have the Law and Order theme song. Isn't that how it works though? Just like on TV, right? All right. So let's. Oh no. I wanted to stay with the paper. Let's get to the front of the state newspaper. Today's state newspaper. This is the headlines. All right. This is shout out to all the Richland organizers who really keep this topic at the forefront in terms of topic of jails, conditions in jails and prisons. I know a few people in Richland County who typically amplify the need for more support of the incarcerated population within South Carolina, specifically in the Midlands areas. So Richland Jail understaffed on the day of a riot. So there's a report following the September 3rd riot, which we did not talk about at length here on Mic'd Up. Over here is Caitlin Bird's story that we talked about yesterday about the slave badges. And yeah, I want to say this, I want to kind of button that up. I wasn't like going at Caitlin's reporting. It's just a way that I think like many topics that involve slavery or enslaving Africans in South Carolina or Charleston, stories just evoke a certain response from me and an emotional response. So I wanted to say that. I'm going to make that clear. I don't think she did anything inappropriate in her characterization of the facts. I just think that these vestiges of a very horrible and sick practice are not treated like they're treated as like, oh wow, look at this. I don't know. It's just weird to me. Good morning, D. What's up? Brienne, what's up? Brienne, hey, if y'all ever have problems accessing the chat, I know a couple of y'all have hit me up. Brienne is one of them. Can you drop some tips in there if like the chat doesn't load? What do you do? I heard someone say they had to clear their cookies. I don't know, I always call Jared for techie stuff, even though that's not sophisticated. But if you ever have problems loading the chat when you watch Twitch, drop a tip in the chat so we can figure out how to avoid that, because a couple people reached out saying, hey, I'm having trouble participating in the chat. Senate right here, continue on with the front page of the Post and Courier, of the state newspaper, Senate adopts the redistricting plan. We're going to get into that relocates Harpootlian. And speaking of Murdaugh, that relocates Harpootlian's seat. Okay, let me back it up. Let me just read at least the stories here on the front page. I'm not going to read Murdaugh. Let's just read at least a little bit of this, and then we're going to transition to some video news coverage, right? All right, city's $254 million budget aims to retain workers, address $3.9 million shortfall. All right, to address the $3.9 million shortfall and increasing employee turnover, Charleston City Council has approved. All right, I'm going to ask a real dumb question, right? I'm going to ask a really silly question. And I got y'all in chat. Y'all saying good morning and stuff. The impulse to say good morning to everyone individually. Do it. Yeah, the more y'all chat, the better for me. I just let y'all know that. Like, do it. Please chat away. Those metrics matter, honestly. Yeah. Hey, look at that. Look at El Cool J. I'm gonna ask a dumb question. Well, all this COVID relief money, CARES Act money, is really still a shortfall? I ain't trying to trip. It was a pandemic. I don't understand. Plus, we sister cities with Doha. They broke us off. They broke off the city council and the county council. Husky. We got oil money flowing up in here. We really in a $3.9 million short. And I ain't trying to be facetious. I'm not trying to be silly either. Like 3.9 in Charleston feel like chump change when you think about all the money that, like, I know tourism got hit. I get that, right? I know that revenue is not there. I'm not being silly. But did Charleston really close down though? Outside of like the initial first like six, like did it really? I know cruise ships stopped coming, but did it really? I really, dumb question. Like, I thought we had Mad CARES Act and Doha money up in here. Seriously. All right, $3.9 million shortfall. Defund the police. Charleston City Council has approved a tax increase. I know Harry's got his draws up in a bunch. All right, City Council on December 7th, that was yesterday, advanced a $254 million proposed general budget that is funded in part by property tax increase. Tax the hotels. I don't understand. What Marriott paying? What Hilton paying? By property tax increase. Council's final vote on the proposed budget and tax rate will take place on December 21st, right in time for the holidays. It represents an 8.5% increase from the previous year's $234 million budget. All right, following are examples of how much taxes would go up in Charleston and Berkeley counties next year. So $42 on $350,000 owner-occupied home. Tax the hotels. I don't understand that. All right, let me read the chat. Y'all blowing it up. All right, let's see. Good morning, Evelyn. All right, so last time I read is y'all saying good morning, everybody. I appreciate y'all. Hey, that's right. Show some good home training. All right, good morning. Okay, I know the budget. See, Allie, you said I know the budget that could spare a few dozen million. I know a budget too. I know, right? Y'all are so sweet. I love it. Say good morning. I love it. Y'all funny. Michelle, I agree. All right, Evelyn, you said, let me go to the smart people. All y'all smart, but Evelyn's really super duper smart. Evelyn said that, 3.9 million is sitting in somebody's bank account right now. It really is though. Like, that seems like chump change. Navarro ain't got it. I'm not saying I want Navarro's money all up and through our government. I'm just saying. Helen Hill ain't got that. All right, so $42 on $350,000 owner occupied home, $63 on $350,000 rented home, $60. Where's Hillary at? Hillary, how you feeling about some of this? Just in terms of what you do. I don't know if this impacts your industry. Brandon, you as well. Don't know if this impacts your industry. $60 on don't know how it impacts your industry. All of this impacts your industry, but how does it impact your industry? $60 on $500,000 owner occupied home, $90 on a $500,000 these prices sound like fiction to me. Well, I can't relate. With vacancies on the rise. Again, let me repeat. With vacancies on the rise, Charleston officials are planning to use the tax increase to bump city's employees' minimum wage to $14 per hour. Okay, now I got to find the whole story. We got to read that. Let me just read this too. This is important to read this. Redistrict. We're gonna go back to that city council, the rest of Emma's story. All right, right down here, senators remap new district in West Ashley, approved voting lines to impact Senator Sandy Sin. All right, so this is from Sienna. Adcox, it says South Carolina senators approved new voting lines December 7th that carve a new Senate district into Charleston County to accommodate exploding population growth along the coast. The 41-2 vote set the lines for a Senate election starting in 2024, pending any potential legal challenge. The redrawn lines shrink and expand districts to account for the state's lopsided population surge over the past decade. The state grew by 10.7%, nearly 500,000 people, right? Or nearly 500,000 people. That's what the district. So, yeah. All right. Yeah, Nick Reynolds, I don't know if I'm gonna get to that. All right, so let's bounce out of this. What y'all saying? Brandon, you dropped in the chat. We have so many people moving from higher property tax areas that I don't anticipate a huge effect. I got you. Didn't taxes go up? Yeah. Evelyn, you says, I want to know how many vacant, overpriced, in parentheses, how many vacant apartments. Somebody put me on to that. There's like a bunch just sitting, right? And again, we're going to talk about affordability today. We're going to talk about livability and like reimagining that. I have 2 books that I did not finish, but I just realized that I'm friends with a bunch of dope people who went to like Pratt and who studied city planning. Like, just coincidentally, it's just really really dope to have those friends. Like my girl Amron, who presented her thesis last night, her final thesis presentation, and she did it on Charleston. I'm gonna show just a thumbnail of her cover of her thesis. I did screenshot the shit out of it because I took notes, but I'll show y'all that in a second. But there are 2 books. Let me switch up real quick as we talk about. I just want to know, like, I want to ask a dumb question. Like, let me switch up. So, like, dumb question. Hey, good morning, this Justin. Good morning. I might be out of focus, but we'll get there. So, if you like, I think during the summer protests of 2020, I used these books. The Just City. This is by Susan Feinstein. We're going to read the synopsis of this, and then I stole this book from my friend Lauren at the beginning of the pandemic. She put it on. I remember she put it on her doorstep so I could come and pick it up. That's when we was really, really like podding it up and quarantining and all that. So, you know, isolation ended up. But anyway, I took this book from Lauren's house, A Tourist City, also co-authored by Susan Feinstein. But just reading these books and then listening to Amron's presentation last night, her thesis presentation. She's a student at Pratt. She presented her thesis, her final presentation. So just like thinking about today, we're going to talk about livability, and the silly question I'm asking, especially after having served on the History and Culture subcommittee of the equity, you know, the special commission on equity, race, and inclusion. Like, so during a lot of our time, I'll give this to Angela Mack of the Gibbs. Angela Mack talked about, why aren't we not taxing the out-of-state developers and other interests that make billions with a B, make literal billions here in Charleston? I don't know, and I'm trying to understand. So they're trying to compensate for a $3.9 million shortfall. I want to know, like, how much effort, how much energy is expanded to make sure that developers and hotels and all these other interests that are not homegrown, that are not South Carolina based, especially not Charleston or Charleston County or Berkeley County, but like, what are we doing to tax them? Are we just passing on the cost to people like me and you and homeowners like y'all in the chat here in the Low Country? Shit, I'm sure this happens in the upstate as well, right? Yeah. I miss. Yeah, is Jessica here? Hey, we miss you, girl. Yeah. You moving with the kids? Okay, I got you. Yeah, it's good to see you. Yeah, Jessica's known. she'll change the whole chat, and I love it. With a joke. I missed you. We missed you. Yeah. DU says, why are we not taxing Boeing and Volvo? Right, those companies come because right, and we know how they're incentivized to come here. Let me switch it back up. Right. Yeah, tax the developers. I don't understand. So I think what I want to encourage y'all to do is, like, when our city government says that, hey, you know, outlines the issue or the problem, we have to be like Socratic in our understanding of the issue, meaning that I really hope that we ask questions, we continue to ask questions about you know, what they're saying or the premise of the argument, because the premise of the argument will inform their decision making around where to compensate for whatever shortfall. So let's just do some local news roundup that actually talks about the whole redistricting. This is a story that Sinclair Station, gotta say, is Sinclair Station, WCIV Channel News 4, that our ABC News affiliate. I think they published this yesterday, but it might be from the day before. But this is about the congressional map. So we're talking about Mace, and we read this, but I'm just gonna watch it again. Mace and Clyburn, right? So let's watch this story. Hold on, let me and then we're gonna get to the whole livability questions. And affordable housing.
Congressional plan, there still needs to be a little bit of work on that.
It became more likely Monday evening that the decision on congressional redistricting wouldn't be decided until the new legislative session opens in the State House in January. This is the state Senate and House still need to make official proposals for what the new...
Love having that statue of good old Strom in the background. Fuck Strom.
This is the state Senate and House still need to make official proposals for what the new districts might look like.
Prep work has been done. There's been hearings across the state.
Some of that prep work seen here. Senate subcommittee submitted this proposal with additions critics have called gerrymandering. Congressional seat 6 and 1, represented by Congressman Jim Clyburn and Congresswoman Nancy Mace, drew most of the questioning. The proposal would put the University of South Carolina and the College of Charleston, two colleges more than 100 miles away and known for their Democrat voting base, into the Democrat Clyburn's district.
Okay, so League of Women Voters, Charleston Dems, the women Dems, SCDP. What we doing to engage these campuses? What are we doing to engage them? And I know these students are out of state, but how are we leveraging their time here in these areas? They don't vote like that. So you can put them in the district, but like they don't vote like that. Like how? So we need to engage them. I don't know. I'm thinking of a lot of different things in the chat. Yeah, Brandon, you said tax developers. Jessica, you said blows your mind. Massive developers in Somerville making major money moves and throwing pennies to the state. Absolutely. Evelyn, you went on to say developers are always heavily lining the pockets of city and city council members. West Edge. I'm looking at you. I ain't saying, but I'm saying. I ain't saying allegedly, supposedly, psychically, physiologically, maybe, allegedly, Councilman Gregory, West Edge. I don't know. Some people are saying, I don't.
District, while taking many of those voters out of District 1, seemingly making it more likely to stay red. The proposal would also split the Charleston Peninsula into two parts.
Gerrymandering is in the eye of the beholder, and we have...
What the fuck?
Also split the Charleston Peninsula into two parts.
Philosophical.
Gerrymandering is in the eye of the beholder.
No, it's not. Gerryman is not an eye in the beholder. Yeah, it's the eye of the beholder. Who was that? B-Man, I think you talked about, you looked at your new map and you were like, what the fuck? This shit look crazy. Right? Get out of here.
And we have a constitutional duty to redraw the lines. And the Supreme Court's been very clear.
Oh, okay. Republican
Partisan makeup, the partisan considerations.
Y'all can't see the guy around, but y'all probably know who he is. Let me see if I can move it just real quick. Yeah. There you go. Yeah. How you doing? Hi, Larry.
Thing that can factor into drawing the lines. I'm sure if Joe Cunningham was emperor, he would draw the lines differently.
Joe Cunningham, a Democrat running for...
Whoa, he put his name on the... he put his name on the diss track. He said, I'm sure if Joe Cunningham was emperor. Okay. Who is this in a turtleneck? Where they be conducting these interviews at? Hold on. Let's go back. I'm being petty.
If Joe Cunningham was emperor, he would draw the lines differently.
Joe Cunningham, a Democrat running for governor who used to represent District 1, has been a critic of the proposal and took exception to Groom's comments.
That's the
Look, I think that attitude from Mr. Grooms represents everything that's wrong with politics. It represents everything that people hate about politics. I won, so I'm going to draw lines. I'm going to draw lines to pick my constituents instead of allowing constituents to pick me.
I asked Cunningham if the shoe was on the other foot and the Democrats controlled the state house, if he would feel the same way.
Exactly.
If it had been on the flip side and the Democrats were in charge and a similar map came out in the other direction, would you still say this is the wrong thing to do, that this should be something that's more even according to population?
Hell yeah.
That was interesting caption placement. So he said, like, hold on, let me make sure I get my stuff straight over here. Hold up. Okay. It says if it has been on the flip side and the Democrats were in charge and a similar map came out. That's a stupid hypothetical. I'm sorry. That's a silly hypothetical. That's not the question I would ask him. I probably ask something like, what tools what tools are popular among Democrats do they use to ensure that lines are drawn more equitably? I would have asked about like the tools or methods or the voices or the people, the professionals, whatever. Who do you enlist to help to ensure like what type of oversight do you propose needs to be in place to ensure that these maps are drawn fairly? Like I would have asked that. But it says, if the shoe was on the other foot, I'm just gonna read it the way I want to read it. The shoe was on the other foot. Democrats were in charge, and a similar map came out. A similar map wouldn't come out. Like what the fuck? It's just a dumb.
The wrong thing to do. That this should be something that's more even according to population.
Hell yeah, I would. Absolutely, because I firmly believe that this isn't a Democrat in my mind. This isn't a Democrat versus Republican. This is a matter of fair elections. And do Democrats do it in other states? Do Republicans do it in other states? Yes. I live in South Carolina. So here's where I fight. I fight where I stand.
For Senator Grooms, he says state Republicans are doing their job.
We're going to equalize the population of the South Carolina House districts and the congressional map.
We'll work to clean up a mess in Mount Pleasant, Shem Creek.
Oh, yeah, we talked about Shem Creek yesterday. They might as well just build a parking lot on Shem Creek. I mean, it's toxic. There's oil in it. That's the rationale they give to Gadsden Creek, right? Might as well just fill that shit in. I'm joking. Yeah, no, that question wasn't useful at all. Reporters got to step their game up. Y'all want to get into these other markets? We got Rob Wade already up there in Massachusetts and Boston killing it. Y'all got to do better with the questions. Like that was a silly question. Let's just go to this clip too. State Senate approved redistricting map. Let's go to this clip.
In other news, state senators have approved the second reading on their redistricting map with a 41-2 vote. Fairfield Senator Fanning and Orangeburg Senator Stevens both voted against.
Like what I'm trying to like push for, like that question was like it really is just not. It's not a helpful question. It doesn't advance the conversation. It doesn't advance the story. So like basically we know that there are watchdog groups. There are certain institutions. There might be a certain political science arm of one of these local institutions that study this issue. I would have talked to them even more than I would have, like quicker than I would have talked to a Joe Cunningham. Larry Grooms I get in terms of just relevancy, in terms of getting that conservative perspective. But I would have probably gone to an academic to ask questions about nonpartisan or bipartisan, fair and equitable redistricting. How do you sidestep gerrymandering? How do you sidestep this accusation? How do you make sure that I would have asked those questions about fairness and making this accessible, not just trying to get Joe Cunningham, who's looking for any camera he can get on. They probably saw him tweet, hit him up, and he was like, hell yeah.
It's the redistricting map.
And he ain't say shit. Hell yeah. And this is not a Republic. Look at him like trying to straddle the fucking situation. Literally, it's the fucking Republicans maintaining power in this state for how many motherfucking years? Literally, the way that power is drawn up and distributed in this state, you can go back to the fucking state constitution and who they were trying to single out and keep out and restrict access to the ballot and restrict access to the government. Like, Joey, it is a Republican, like it's a partisan issue. It's called gerrymandering. It's very partisan, bruh. You can take the Democrat side unabashedly. You don't have to worry about no blood. We got some real shitty ass Democrats. Just Democrat. I just need you to Democrat. You know, like let me get some flowers that I never give out. I never give Marlon Kinston flowers, but Marlon Kinston knows how to Democrat in his way. I don't always like it. I don't like the shtick, the brown liquor. I don't like all that stuff, but he knows how to Democrat. And you know how also he builds his little coalitions too. Like, just be a fucking Democrat. Please. I don't understand. Just do it.
The new map moves Senator Dick Harpootlian's district to Charleston in the hopes of having 3 seats in Richland County. On Monday, the Senate Judiciary Subcommittee approved the map, and the Senate had their first hearing during session just hours later. The House chamber approved their redistricting map yesterday during its 3rd hearing, and today, senators approved the map as well. The House is expected to return to session on Thursday.
Okay. Cool. All right. I thought that was important. I don't have a thumbnail up. I didn't do a newsletter today. Really wanted to prioritize rest. But we want to talk about livability. But also, I'm going to play this because I want to, because I love John Morant. We should have got him in the Knicks, but we didn't have that pick. But I love R.J. Barrett, but John Morant would have been great for the Knicks, but we won last night.
Well, one of Sumter County's favorite sons was back in the Gamecock City Tuesday night. Memphis Grizzlies star John Morant got his jersey retired
That's
by
a handsome young man right there.
Crestwood High School. Morant was the second pick in the 2019
That's a
NBA
strapping
draft.
young
Since
fellow.
entering the association, he's been one of the best point guards in the league. He's fresh off of his first playoff appearance, and he's currently averaging.
And he came through with the drip too, like ice. Burr.
Just under 25 points per game this season, and now his name and number will forever
We need a stylist though.
Be immortalized at Crestwood.
You know, it's big time for me.
Hell yeah.
Obviously, you know, this, you know, where it started. 4 years here.
Hell yeah. KCJ18. Shit. Ask Harry, tell me. Give me a younger man for real.
AV varsity basketball. Just pretty much, you know, when I started, you know, realizing, you know, I was, you know, good enough to, you know, take it to the next level. Receive, you know, offers.
What does that mean?
You know, during my time here. Obviously went to Murray State, and I am.
Is that like a show or something?
Extremely blessed. You know, thankful, grateful. You know, to be able to get my jersey retired here. You know, I was once a kid who, you know, was a fan of players, but you know, never got.
I thought I was gonna show more clips of him like dunking, but all right, that's cool. I'm glad he got his jersey retired. I was gonna show him more of his like explosive bursts to the rim. Let me see. That sounded crazy. All right, a Richland County high school student wanted to play this story. Oh yeah.
A Richland Northeast student was arrested
because we played the clip of the North Charleston gun in the school. Let's go here.
A Richland Northeast student was arrested today on charges of taking a gun to school. And moments ago, Richland Northeast principal sending us a statement regarding the incident. Principal Mark Sims says
that was one time when I was not going for double entendres. I always be doing double entendres. Y'all don't be catching all of them, but y'all catch enough. But that one wasn't. That was just an unfortunate framing.
He's extremely disheartened about the incident. The second time he says a weapon has been taken to campus this school year. He adds that district administrators are exploring all options when it comes to school safety. Now for the details on what happened. Investigators say this afternoon a school administrator notified the school resource officer that a gun was found in a student's backpack. The officer determined the gun was stolen. The 17-year-old student was taken into custody and charged. We're told that no students were shown or threatened with that gun.
It's crazy. Like, just guns are so pervasive here. It's just in this country here. I mean, like, just kids just get their like, that's the part. Like, locking up parents. Like, we talked about this. Radley Balco brought up some good points about, like, we want to be careful about, you know, charging parents after shootings because you know how that's disproportionately going to just start impacting not NRA people, not MAGA people, right? But I do think there needs to be some accountability when it comes to gun storage, especially if a minor is caught with a gun and that, you know, someone who's not of age to have a gun, you know, that's not cool. All right, real quick, this is a $11 million story about King Street that I did not watch the entire one. I did not watch this story, but we're going to play it. It's for part of our local news roundup that we're doing right now.
Creating services for tourists.
Hold on. So yeah, the story is titled WCBD Channel News 2, $11 million King Street Business Improvement District. This is what it's all about. Don't talk about no $3.9 million when you got $11 million to trick off on window dressing.
$11 million could be funneled into improving King Street. Changes like beautifying the street and creating services for tourists and locals. All a part of that.
Joy, is that true? Like, that's what explains that phenomenon?
That concept. News 2's Katie Augustine.
I mean, I know it's true. I didn't mean to sound like I didn't believe
Katie, City Council is meeting tonight to have one final discussion.
Sophia, that is exactly right. A plan like this one has been talked about since the late 1970s, and it could finally be coming to fruition. City leaders are expected to put that stamp of approval on it tonight at the meeting.
What a fun location. It's bustling.
The top place to shop in downtown Charleston could be getting some improvements.
After the struggle of a year that we had last year, I think getting more improvement on King Street is absolutely fabulous.
Community members and city leaders working together for a better vision for the future. And now City Council is voting on a business improvement district for King Street.
There may be a wayfinding program. So that would be some signage that would help, again, direct people where things are at. Street beautification is another component.
Charleston is so JV. It's not even fucking funny. More signs to tell you where slavery actually took place.
Another possibility, a program that puts people on the street to direct tourists, help homeless people locate services, and puts more eyes in the area.
So that if there's a maintenance issue or if, God forbid, there is a security issue, there's someone there who can grab their cell phone.
What's his position with the city?
Business owners involved in a nonprofit called the Charleston Downtown Alliance spearheaded the effort and will help pay for the...
What the fuck is that? The Charleston Downtown Alliance? You already got the CVB. What is it? A bunch of men wearing those fleece vests over some kind of checkered or striped shirt with Ray-Bans on top of their hat. What the fuck is this? Is this? This ain't it. Wait, is this it? Oh, yeah, this is going to coincide exactly what we're talking about today. Charleston Area Alliance. Is that it? King Street businesses, Charleston city leaders discuss changes to improve safety, yada, 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 using it as a Trojan horse to get a bunch of shit in. What the hell? Charleston Downtown Alliance. All right, let's get this ad out the way. It says King Street. Let me make this larger. It says King Street. All right, a King Street business owners. This is back in July, y'all. July 16th. What the fuck with this? King Street business owners are heading up an initiative with the city of Charleston to bring improvements to one of the city's most important shopping and dining districts in hopes of improving the city's experience, the city's streets experience. If approved by city council, it would establish partnership between the city and I didn't even know this. Partnership between the city and the Charleston Downtown Alliance, a nonprofit nonprofit of King Street business owners. The private nonprofit. How'd I miss this? I was not on my Martin Brodeur bullshit. I missed this shit. The private nonprofit organization is leading the charge to bring changes to the busy downtown street. City officials say the group brought the idea to city leaders in hopes. See, we up here. This is where I'm gonna admit my weakness. This is where I'm gonna talk about my weakness. Put the camera on me. I get so singularly focused over. But no, I'm gonna give myself grace. I'm one person. But like I became so singularly focused on, issues around policing, the budget with police, even just daylighting these stories. Pardon me for clearing my throat. I'm like, even just daylighting these stories that you just don't, and it's almost impossible to cover all this news. It's impossible to read all these stories or to watch all these stories. But this is just something I want to confide, like this. So if there's ever a story, this is why I tell y'all, I need to start a fucking tip line on Discord or some shit. This is why I tell y'all, please don't assume that I read it. I might not have, so you can always float stories to me. I don't always like you floating me, hey, this bar owner in Orangeburg said something racist. What are you gonna say about it? I don't do that. I'm not a mercenary. I'm not a hired hand. I ain't okay. Call the shop and tell them stop it, cut it out, knock it off. But like, please send me stories if something like, if I don't cover something. I'm serious. Like, please send me news stories I might have missed. I will take that. I don't care if that comes with a lot of extra shit, but King Street Pinkertons. Hold on. Private security force. This is crazy. Right, Justin? They made their own group. That's what I'm saying. Like, so how do they work with the CVB? Or is it a CVB-led group that's just acting like it's actually, you know, the private nonprofit organization is leading the charge to bring changes to the busy downtown streets. City officials say the group brought the idea to city leaders in hopes of making enhancements. Some of the talk about creating bureaucracy where you don't need to create any bureaucracy. Either defund the CVB and neutralize their power. Their power. I don't know. Some of the it's so funny. Well, anyway, some of the discussed changes include adding additional security and safety, increasing maintenance projects, and adding beautification along the road. Okay, let's go back to the story. Let's finish it up. These are the businesses they're talking about, though. These kind of businesses. These right here. Is that tribe story? What's this? I don't know. That's on Cumberland. I don't know what this is. 2 Cumberland. I don't know what that is.
Grab their cell phone.
Business owners involved in a nonprofit called the Charleston Downtown Alliance spearheaded the effort and will help pay for the project. $11 million over 10 years is the...
Oh, Jessica, thank you for reminding me that Yule log made my heart glow. We will Google that next, Jessica. You a real one. That was a Yule... You remember, like, I don't know if y'all had them down here, but on like on Channel 11 in New York, they'd always do the Yule log on Christmas, like on the TV. So like if you had a fire, like your fake fireplace, that shit, I'm gonna put that Fox News Christmas tree burning. That's gonna be my Yule log. It might be like a feed where I go live here on Twitch and it's just that tree on a loop roasting.
The estimated cost.
They will have a lot more say in what's happening on the street with these funds.
Shop owners say business and tourism are booming, and these changes can only be positive.
What about the shortfall?
With people walking up and down the street, they need guidance, and kind of where the locals go is what everybody always wants to know. So I think if we have people...
They want to know where the locals go? Somerville, bitch. North Charleston. We can't afford to live here.
On the street doing that, that's so
They not at West Elm. They not at Athlete's Foot. Where the locals go? Downtown Charleston, the King Street Business District. Use a basic, like, it's such a basic bitch. Charleston's such a basic ass bitch. Basic as hell. Where do the locals go? To Wamala. To Ravenel. I don't know. Sorry. I don't know why that made me laugh. And shout out to this young lady. I'm sorry. She might be a sweet young lady. I'm not trying to come at your neck. I don't know. You got a really nice festive sweater on. Sorry. No shade. I didn't mean to harm.
And kind of where the locals go is what everybody
County.
Always wants to know. So I think if we have people on the street doing that, that's so helpful.
Yeah, I propose people with spinning signs. I would love to see more of those. Or those inflatables. Those inflatable, like, tubey things. Like, yeah, put those out so people know where to go. Yep, more spinning sign people. Oh, my God. Oh, God. All right, let me see what else is local that I want to round up on. Let me see. No, I'm not going to do that. No. This is the last one, and then we're going to get to damn, it's 8:50. Yeah, this is the last one, and then we're going to get to what we want to talk about, which is livability. It's important. All this news is important to cover all of it, guys.
Priority after a teenager was arrested. The teenager is accused of bringing a loaded gun to school.
This is Jordan Sayopa, heard from North Charleston High School leaders about how they are making sure your children are safe.
Jessica.
That teenager is facing charges after police say a loaded gun was found here at North Charleston High School. Now, school leaders I spoke with say they take situations like this very seriously and have precautions in place to keep everyone safe. After a security scare at North Charleston High School, Charleston County School District officials are emphasizing the importance of safety.
Teachers and staff work incredibly hard every day to create a safe learning environment for our students.
According to a police report, the 14-year-old freshman is facing charges of having a gun on school grounds after police say they found a weapon inside his book bag. CCSD officials say the school was not placed on lockdown because there was no immediate threat.
The information that came forward led staff to believe that the situation was contained and under control. The bag where the gun was allegedly located was in the control of a staff member at that point.
Officials say students were placed on a hold for 15 to 20 minutes.
But during a hold, we basically clear the halls and stay in our classroom or in the room where we're presently located inside the school.
CCSD leaders say they are thankful no one was hurt. They will continue to work to prevent situations like this from happening again.
95% of our students are great students. We simply have that minority of students who...
That's how my dad wears his mask, and he don't even have a beard. I'm assuming that he's doing Darby's dressed like this because Darby's wearing his mask like this because his beard, perhaps. It's got to be a better way though. I don't know how my dad wore his. He looked like that SpongeBob character. What is that? The action hero guy with the sea star on his face. That's how my dad looked.
What I consider give the school a type of black eye.
In North Charleston, Jordan Siopa, Count on 2.
Okay, so yeah, let's watch that Yuletide spirit. Wait, I don't want to see their coverage. I want to see, Eyewitness News 7, my childhood ABC News affiliate.
Breaking news from the overnight. Somebody set the Christmas tree that is located outside the Fox News Midtown headquarters on fire. You're looking at Citizen App video of the flames.
I hope nobody was
Police say
hurt.
that it happened just after midnight. The suspect is in custody. Eyewitness News reporter Tony Yates is live in Midtown. Tony has more for us. Good morning.
Good morning, Ken. You know, that video is so sad, isn't it? The first thing we want to say, though,
Tony.
is that nobody was hurt
That
in this
makes it
fire,
extra not
but
sad.
it really is to look at that video. It's so sad because it is a symbol that means so much to so many people.
Calm down, Tony.
Crews have been out here right now washing down, cleaning up the area. You know, this was a beautiful tree out here in front of the
is that
News
what
Corps
they
building
all
on
have
6th
that?
Avenue. Of course, you know, holiday decorations are up all over the city. It's a destination for thousands of people.
That Citizen App
to
be
experience
snitching.
the holidays here in the Big Apple. So at about 12:15 last night, a man
Let
was
it
seen
burn.
climbing the tree and then lighting the tree on fire. Building security was able to tackle him to the ground.
Oh,
They
he
called
climbed the
police
tree?
who arrested him. Just a sad situation. The News Corps building houses several companies, including Fox News, the Wall Street Journal, the New York Post. We do know that
Okay.
the suspect is 49 years old. At one point, he lived in Brooklyn. We're expecting to
I don't
learn
know, B-Man.
more
I think
about
she's-
him and possibly a motive sometime
maybe she
later
is.
today. But the Christmas tree out
War
here
on
in front of the
Christmas.
News Corps
War
building,
on
torched
Christmas.
beyond repair.
I'm waiting for the fake news story to pop up on OAN saying that they burned the Christmas tree and erected a mosque, like some bullshit ass framing. Not quite climb the tree and set it on fire. Not quite Bree Newsom, but not quite Bree Newsom at all. But oh, look at that, the Cuomo brothers. What's more on fire, that tree or these two brothers' careers? It's like, you know, Chris Cuomo's gonna pop right back up in a tight t-shirt. He ain't canceled yet. Watch. All right, so let's get to it. So I want to talk about the affordable housing situation. I want to kind of tighten it up and then go into show some instances, some stories that feature. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything important. Nah, we're good. I think we did a really good job with News Roundup. It's a whole hour in, and I haven't talked about livability explicitly yet. We talked about some taxation issues that impact housing and affordability. I want to read from this story that I guess published today. This is the editorial board of the city paper. County housing proposal continues to pledge to build affordable homes and trust. All right, the newest members of Charleston County Council knew going into 2021 that the county's top priority must be affordable housing. Now, more than a year later, one piece of that commitment has a chance of becoming a reality. Under a proposal backed by a majority of members of the county council last week, a deed restriction would be placed on 6.5 acres of public land at the 995 Morrison Drive location, requiring attainable, and this is in quotes, requiring attainable and workforce housing to be built on the property. Details are still up in the air, but it looks like a step in the right direction. For too many years, members of Charleston County Council squandered their responsibilities by allowing this is the editorial board talking, by allowing millions upon millions of taxpayer dollars to be frittered away on pet projects that benefited county insiders more than residents. That's to take Evelyn's earlier point, right? Somewhat to Evelyn's earlier point. The old Naval Hospital, and it says it's period. That long delayed recycling center. Okay, yeah, I got you. So they're just listing off the projects. The Naval Hospital debacle, horrible, especially like given what like Honor has uncovered with that guy that's tied to that and the booster. The old Naval Hospital, the long delayed. Was that Paul Bowers? The long delayed recycling center. Former council chairman Elliot Summies hiring at the airport. Yep. Former attorney Joe Dawson's sweetheart departure deal. Yep. The list goes on. Trust in county leaders was so low. In fact, the residents voted no on a 2020 referendum that would have given the county millions to supercharge affordable housing developments because they didn't trust them to handle the money. Right, until new leadership came in. On November 4th, 2020, the day after he was elected, new county councilman Rob Weirman didn't mince words. Despite the failure of the referendum on affordable housing, I think the county's got to find some way of still addressing that issue, he told the city paper. Another council newcomer, Kylan Middleton, called the proposal for Morrison Drive quite visionary and forward thinking. I'm gonna stop it there because I think that's the city paper. So now this is the editorial board of the Post and Courier, right? The city's paper of record. Editorial: Charleston County's land plan could boost affordable housing or set it back. Look at that. Let's compare that. So this is the headline from the city paper. Our view: county housing proposal continues to pledge and build affordable homes and trust. Post and Courier editorial: Charleston County land plan could boost affordable housing or set it back. All right, let's read it. Let's give it a fair shake, right? And then we're going to transition to more like just some other stuff. All right, there's no question our area needs more affordable housing, particularly in y'all. And remember now, they got some real estate holdings too. Post and Courier, Evening Post, they're holding. Right, there's no question our area needs more affordable housing, particularly in downtown Charleston, one of our region's major employment centers and one of the easiest places to get by without added expense of owning a car. What? Okay, get by without added. Okay, this is not Amsterdam. No one's biking. It's not a bikeable or walkable city, but okay. There's no fucking buses that run like not like that. Who wrote this? One of the region's major employment centers and one of the easiest places to get by without the added expense of owning a car. This is not New York. It's also where it's not Charlotte. It's also where land is both pricey and scarce. Well, give up some. Y'all got some. Give up some. So we understand why Charleston County Council is interested in using its underdeveloped 6.5 acres at 995 Morrison Drive to create more affordable housing. What's important is getting the details right. And while County Council voted 5-4 last week to place a deed restriction that requires affordable housing on the entire 6.5 acre site, its work has only begun. Look at how they're couching shit. All right. That's because we really have no clue what this vote will actually mean. Whoa. All right. What will the language of the what will be the language of the deed restrictions? How many affordable units might it require? How will the county define affordable or attainable? That's a fair question. in the deed restriction. How long would those units have to remain affordable? And that's one thing that Dudley, when Dudley was voicing his support of West Edge, and also when he was trying to justify some older votes around affordable housing and why he voted against some sort of voting housing proposed legislation, he said it was because of like the sunset provisions that were included in some of the initial, I guess, whatever. I can't remember what year this was, but I remember him offering up that comment about the sunset provisions. I think this was at a hearing that we had, Wendell Gilliard coalesce, or a hearing that we had Wendell Gilliard arrange for FOGC concerns. And I believe, I don't know if Dudley provided comment, but he came in with West Edge. He came in with a representative from West Edge, and to listen to ear hustle essentially. But I remember Dudley saying that there were sunset provisions in some of the proposed legislation around affordable housing units here, and that's how they get you, right? But the other way how the city, let's talk about the city, not the county. The other way the city will get you, if they don't include those sunset provisions that basically end affordable housing after a certain point, they allow these developers to just pay the fee or the fine for not creating affordable housing. So you have that in lieu of bullshit, that in lieu of loophole, that the city just says, all right, we'll take the fine. It shouldn't really be no in lieu of loophole. It really should be really hard. If there is a loophole, it should be really hard to access. But the city would have these mechanisms in place that were toothless, so you wouldn't even enforce the required. I got you in the chat. You wouldn't even enforce certain laws that you have. They would be so toothless that you might as well not have anything on the books, right? So yeah, how will it define affordable and attainable in the deed restriction? How long would those units have to remain affordable? Beyond those units, however, however many they are, how much of the property would be developable for other uses? And of course, you got a lot of questions for county council. I hope the editorial board has the same smoke and energy for these developers who y'all busting it wide open for. Okay, here in the chat. All right, good morning, Honor. So here in the chat, let me see. All right, so Justin, you dropped this in. So first major development attached to Greenville's Unity Park on track with design blessing. Okay. Don't have to read it on screen, but just sharing. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Because we touched on this really quickly. I think somebody reached out to me about Unity Park too, and they were concerned. Let me close that out. All right, let's go back to the a little bit more of the editorial, then we're going to hop off because I don't want to read too much cornball report. Actually, we're going to, and then Honor, you said shady North Charleston Hospital info. Yep. Shady North Charleston Hospital info, right? Concerns over the donations. Right, I remember that. Yep. Concerns over donations to North Charleston High School Booster Club Prompt District Probe. Right. And so this dude right here, when the city paper's talking about like these failed pet projects, right? This is one of the biggest ones, and this is a guy that's in the Trump orbit. Jeremy Blackburn, he's a failure who keeps getting chance upon chance upon chance to gain more and more access to schools, to different parts of either government or our daily life. Like, it's just really interesting. And Darby needs to answer. He really should have. I don't think he adequately answered for this whole like Jeremy Blackburn connection to this booster money. But we were too busy making him a hero for working at Walmart. No shade. I'm sorry, that sounded real bad. But that was part of it. I really do believe knowing these strange bedfellows that are Darby and Blackburn and other interests, right? We factor in Pryor in that as well. Given those strange bedfellows, I think it's fair to ask, like, was some of that, like, there was a concerted effort to make sure that story popped the way it did. I never, like, it wasn't a feel-good story, but it was, I mean, whomever, I don't know, I don't feel like that was organic. Like, Today's Show and all that, I don't know. And then it was a recent, somebody else made some more content about it. I don't know, I just feel like all that kind of factors into some other shit, right? All right, so the Post and Courier is like, oh, yeah, we need it, but... to me it feels like they talk about the Naval Hospital here. To me it feels like the Post and Courier, and I know I need to read the entire piece, but it feels like the Post and Courier always like looks for a way to question common sense or equity. Like they always try to find a reason to rationalize why these more equitable options shouldn't be front and center. Justin, you dropped in the chat a statistic. You said it's generally 20% of the units in that Greenville property, 20% of the units when they set aside, for affordable housing, right? Okay, yeah, you're talking about in general. I got you. Right? All right, it should be both. Evelyn, you said earlier, fee and units. Megsy, you said, and that's fine, isn't substantial enough. That fine isn't substantial enough, right, to allow city to buy land. Exactly. The fine is like peanuts, right? And make the fine so like make the fine husky. It's not a deterrent at all. They pay and they don't care. West Edge paid for it too. It was like that Caroline building over there with the rooftop pool and all the white girls up in there above the Jimmy John's. They just paid a fee for that. Like they were supposed to put affordable units in that. Nope. We'll just pay the fine. We ain't gonna do it. Like literally. And they tell you what they not gonna do. The developers run this city. So don't tell me about no shortfall. And don't show me no hand wringing and Post and Courier while you bring up some pretty important things to consider. Stop acting like, this right here shows you the lack of political will to actually provide access. So what I want to do is, I want to look at one more story. I think Wendell Gilliard, I think him and Kempson, Marlon Kempson, affordable. Hold on. Yeah. So this was last week, but I wanted to read it here. So Wendell Gilliard, Robert Mitchell, who City Councilman Robert Mitchell, and Marlon Kempson are all here on the here as having written this story, contributed to this story. It says commentary: designate land at 995 Morrison for affordable housing before it's too late. Right? It says gentrification has driven African Americans out of their neighborhoods. And that's why we're going to hit on this story right here as well. We're going to touch on this a little bit. Like just black people moving in certain patterns. Let me close this out. All right. African Americans out of their neighborhoods. And there's an urgent, if not dire, need for more affordable and workforce housing. Yet the recent editorial on 995 Morrison Drive urged Charleston County to move slowly. Yes, exactly. Like that needless caution, like that shit that like moderates do, which is just stymie shit and doesn't really advance anything. This is an urgent issue. Affordability and access to housing is an urgent issue. Like seriously, right? So yeah, recent editorial urged County Council to move slowly, designating the property for exactly that purpose. The September 28th editorial, and that was that the one I read? No, that was City Paper. I think I closed it already. I already closed it. Yeah, I closed it. I got you in the chat. I got you. The September 28th editorial cites two illogical reasons why council should proceed slowly. First, it cites the need for more financial information because of the county's land deal that went bad 20 years ago. Second, it cites the need to wait until a draft is presented of the new county affordable housing plan. The fact that the council was not considering a specific deal, but rather a deed restriction, a bold visionary move in light of the urgent need for affordable housing in an ever-shrinking landscape. So I'm gonna leave that here because I know I'm taking a lot of time up away from what I really want to present with some content that talks about it. But I wanted you to get the perspective from two papers and also the Democratic leadership, local Democratic leadership. So what this prompted me to, with this conversation, and as we're watching let me close this out too. I'm not going to use these. It really made me think about what does livability, what does affordable housing look like? What does city planning look like? And I started off this live stream talking about when I moved into this space around Mother's Day of 2020. When I moved into this space, I began nesting and I started to consume a lot of content that really just was like soothing. And one of them was, I don't know if y'all watch this channel on YouTube, Never Too Small. I love it, right? So if you are going to watch this, if you're watching this Twitch replay on YouTube, I don't know if this will be edited out. I don't know if it'll be muted on Twitch. I don't know, but we're going to play some YouTube videos. The last 2 live streams were fine, and I played a lot of other people's content, but sometimes it gets edited out. But I wanted to play some Never Too Small content because they started to have these broader conversations. They partner with a bunch of think tanks and YouTube and all the other stuff. But I still think the conversation is a great place to start. Again, I'm in this orbit too. I'm in community with. Let me say that I'm in community with some really rad student planners and whatnot. I'm just gonna download and okay, there. And so last night I sat sitting in on my friend's Pratt Institute dissertation presentation. It really made me want to think about other solutions and other things. All right, so I'm gonna close that out. They never move slowly when building hotels. I'm telling you, D, if you when you come back to visit, it's like you gonna be like, where am I? It's like it's jaw dropping. Hillary, you said it's sad it's never addressed. This has been a discussion for so long. It's exhausting. Yeah, Anna, you dropped something. The Naval Hospital was stripped for copper as well. Yeah. Okay, New Republic. Let me pull that up just so I can read that later. All right, thank you. Yeah, I remember this story. Yeah, I remember this. Yep. Shout out to New Republic. Love their reporting. So yeah, Never Too Small content. And so they started Never Too Small, if y'all don't know, let me just click on it real quick. It's just like all this tiny living, but this conversation around rethinking affordability, again, this is an international perspective, but I think when I peruse, because I did not finish, when I peruse The Tourist City, co-authored by Susan Feinstein, and The Just City, authored by Susan Feinstein, a lot of these concepts are at least, or some concepts from other regions are presented, right? So I think it's worth a look. Now I do think, you got to make certain considerations for certain things, but I really wanted to watch this. And then I want to talk about center Black people and their tendency or the trends around Black folks, and how they're moving. Like I'm part of a reverse migration. I left the Northeast to come down to the South, to connect, of course, to be closer to my parents, but for other reasons as well. And there's certain types of shifts that are either being initiated by climate change, maybe immigration, but also affordability, housing affordability. So I wanted to play a little bit of this conversation, if not all. It was 12 minutes, so we'll see what we can play. This is Never Too Small.
Living in cities is becoming more and more expensive, so it's very important for people to have affordable housing.
We can provide not just the right space to live, but also the places that they're gonna need to interact with others.
The alternative to an inclusive city is a city that is impoverished in many parts of what we regard as special to us.
The way that we design our cities can either bring us closer together or drive us apart. Most cities are facing affordability issues. People are being almost forced to move out from the cities because they don't have the places that they could afford, and then they need to go to the suburbs. On the other hand, the suburbs might be more affordable and might have a little bit more space, but they are really far away from amenities and from work. How do we create the right spaces so that people can socialize, that at the same time are affordable, and that can cater for also the different types of families that exist today?
I like this type of thinking and these questions. Now, this is Melbourne, Australia.
There's an enormous amount of land that is available in our city to deliver affordable housing. We like to call it lazy land. Sometimes it's the land we all see that is just a bitumen car park, but it might be a single level community centre in an area where the surrounding development is 5 stories. What if we use the space above that centre for older households? What if we used the spare land around our car parks and wrapped those with housing?
Now again,
we've all seen examples such as this, the big double-sided car park next to great infrastructure. If we want to keep the cars at ground level, building in the airspace above this, we'd conceptualised 4-storey development for affordable housing for local communities.
Listen, they're going to talk about...
We've seen recently some very good examples of Nightingale. High-quality housing, well designed to be next to public transport.
Look at that, high-quality housing, well designed to be next to public transport. And what I liked about this clip, in terms of, like, again, these are the ideas that I want to talk about, like building up. Well, we know we're going to have to build up because sea level rise. We know we're going to have to build up. But also, like, making these affordable housing units high quality, near certain infrastructure. Like, so I want to start having this conversation too. Like, yeah, we need to have the Wendell Gilliards and the Kempsons fighting for the use of whatever land that's available, whatever real estate is available. We need to be having them fight, you know, when it comes in the governmental space, but we also need to partner with conscientious planners about what the vision for Charleston should be. Now, we already know. We know the vision for Charleston is green dollars coming in from Doha and from billionaires, and we know their vision, right? But this is where we, the people, the constituents, we need to show up at city council, county council, and start pushing for more conscientious development ideas. And I just love the way this conversation starts, and especially what we don't talk about nearly enough, at least not me. I'm sure the housing justice groups talk about this often, but accessibility. When I do most of my mutual aid work in Back to Green, right? So in Gadsden Green projects, one thing you can notice off the rip is those public housing units. And I know that's not necessarily affordable housing, but I'm just gonna, but they're supposed to be some sort of affordable housing, right? But like those are they're 2 stories and they're inaccessible. Like, if you have a wheelchair, where are you gonna live? How you gonna act? Like, and even if you do have a wheelchair, like I know there are units that are equipped for wheelchair access, but not nearly as many as you think, right? So, like, just like having questions about or talking about centering people who have shout out to the new follower, DJ Euphoric Bear. You know, I just really wish that we had more of a robust conversation around what that vision of the city could look like. And I wish that it was more of a participatory process where people can come together and talk about what they need, what they want to see, what kind of green spaces they want to see, what type of affordable housing they'd like to have access to, right? And like I do with charity and philanthropy, like not all charity is created equal. Not all philanthropy, not all mutual aid is created equal. What we can't do is just have these ideas, and then when it comes time to build them, it's shoddy construction. It's you know, things like accessibility become an afterthought as opposed to a primary concern. We can't approach it with like, oh, this is charity. We should just do this nice thing where we create these homes, and at least they're not homeless, so they don't have to be as good as my house. No. It needs to be as good as the most highfalutin Charlestonian. It needs to be really high quality. And I think that climate change requires that as well. No more of this shoddy, shitty ass construction.
Transport that we're hearing in the background.
What's up, K-Bell?
The idea of replicating that in these sorts of locations makes a lot of sense.
Effective use of poorly used land for housing delivers potentially people close to opportunity. It can deliver safer places. If people are living in places and there is activity in places, bad things don't tend to happen to the same degree as well. You know, people take ownership of their street.
He's talking about community building, not just occupancy, right? Right?
You're stitching together neighbourhoods. So instead of this big piece of tarmac, you can introduce quality streets and spaces if you do it well. We also see if the land has a lower value, then the cost of the housing should be lower also.
You hear that?
Because so much of the cost of delivering a house is the cost of the land at the moment.
That's interesting.
The drill hall was an old military training facility back in the early 1900s. It was in very poor state of repair and being used in...
Evelyn, to that comment you just said, I'm looking up right now, 3 water spots. This building was built in 2017. This complex just recently sold for $55 million, I believe, as per the Post and Courier. I picked this place primarily because I wanted a studio apartment. I wanted a smaller footprint, and also because it was new construction. And 2017, this built. I've got 3 water spots. Thank God it didn't harm my mural. All right, shout out Mackenzie and Headspace, and Elliot. But yeah, 3 leaking, 3 drippy. I'm not on the top floor, y'all. I'm not on the top floor. I'm looking at 3 ponding puddles above me now. They're not wet enough. I would have moved if it was going to drip. Not only that, I don't even want to go through all of it. Shitty ass construction. 2017, and I'm not on the top floor, and I got leaks every time. It just rained. How much? It didn't rain that bad. Okay. Yeah, and I know there's mold up in there, right?
Internally as a car park.
Sorry to make it about me.
We saw a really interesting opportunity for use of the airspace for affordable housing and the restoration of the ground floor drill hall as a community facility.
Look at this.
We were able to generate accommodation for 82 bedrooms in over 50 apartments.
82 bedrooms.
25% of them designed for people who have disabilities.
25%. 25%. I don't, that sounds good to me. I don't know, that sounds above average. I might be completely off. Maybe I'm being impressed by small shit. But I've never heard anyone with city planning or planning affordable housing talk about accessible units. 25%. That's a big chunk.
As we design the corridors, we think of them as streets where people have their front porch or threshold into their apartments. I'm not a number in a unit, but rather I'm a resident of a street on a level in the building with its own character and with this connection with place. This project is in an extraordinary location, giving people access to affordable good food, great public transport in the city that really link people on this side to more than 1 million jobs within 45 minutes. Using the lazy land to do that.
Sorry, did you hear me say, so connecting people to jobs, like making sure that these affordable units are in the heart of the fucking city, near the infrastructure, right? So stop listening to West Edge talking about, well, we're bringing jobs. I don't need West Edge to bring jobs. You're going to bring the fucking condos. Jimmy John's is not the jobs that we would have in mind. We talking about good jobs. We thought you was bringing good jobs, not Jimmy John's and Domino's, right? No shade to people who work there, but you get what I'm saying. Yeah, I ain't like you earning a livable wage there. So, you know what I mean? I'm not trashing y'all, I'm trashing the concept. Don't let the developers dictate, the jobs. No. The developers should be saying, hey, we can put people closer to the jobs that already exist. Especially now, y'all keep saying y'all hiring. Everywhere I go, speaking of Jimmy John's, I went to go get my sub on game day. They talking about they closing early because, I see that everywhere. We're closing early because of the hiring. We're hiring. We're really hiring. We're hiring. Signs outside. Put the housing where the fucking jobs are. You want people to go back to work in Charleston? Charleston? You want people to go back to work? I can't live in my city. I can't. I don't have a car. And I'm not going to buy a golf cart. I don't have a car. I want to work. I want to work downtown where all these jobs are, where all this hiring's at. I can't. The wages are shitty. I can't afford. Okay.
Is an obvious obligation, I think, rather than choice.
What's up, DJ Euphoric?
I think that social housing has a great role in improving our cities. When I first moved to Vancouver, I was really surprised about how different social housing was from Mexico. Social housing in Mexico is about building the same housing typology and then replicate it like 1 million times. And everyone has the same small house that is poorly constructed most of the time, unfortunately, with no identity, with no character.
All bland mayonnaise.
it's easier to think about how we develop new lots or new plots that are far away from the city and that are less expensive. But I think that pushing towards this kind of policy where prioritizing people in need in the most wonderful places where they can have access to all services, I think that that's definitely something that we should keep doing.
We had a very interesting project in an inner city area. There was some public housing in the area. And for some of the traders and some of the residents, they said it would be much better if we move this housing somewhere else, you know, please. The assumption is they're lowering the tone of the area. No, they're not. They're actually enriching the area. Yes. Many of the people who've come from struggling households have come to contribute more in volunteering and helping Australians in times of need, like the bushfires and COVID recently. It only takes one or two things to happen in our life that don't go well.
That's right.
For us to be in that position. Do we want to feel like, therefore, we're on the scrap heap? Or, no, we're all a big family here, we're going to look after each other, and by raising those who are most in need, we raise all of us. That could be available. Affordable housing is important.
So this conversation, again, don't know about homeboy. Y'all do your Googles and find out that he's like a schmuck and he ain't really living up to his professed values. That's fine. But I do feel like he talking right, as I like to say. He talking right now. He talking right. But no, seriously, like this conversation here being facilitated by Never Too Small, and my personal experience with my brother. I graduated from undergrad in 2004. He graduated in 2003. I took 5 years to graduate. He took 4. And so he left his school in Johnson City, Tennessee. I'm telling all his business. He left his school in Johnson City, Tennessee, and he relocated to Chicago. And I remember he worked for a CDC, like a community development corporation, a church. I ain't gonna get into all that. But anyway, the church did do this one good thing that I see happening in other places like Newark, which is taking their congregation who are renters and turn them into homeowners. And my brother was able to take advantage of a really, really dope, impressive, affordable housing program. He was a first-time home buyer, and I believe his mortgage was basically his house was built from scratch in a predominantly black neighborhood on the west side of Chicago. And not just him, but many of the congregants or other community members were able to go through this program and purchase a home for a considerably low price. So I want to say around like $90K, like something real, like deliriously low. But they were turning renters into home buyers. And B-Man, I know you brought up equity in an earlier comment that I didn't get to read. Exactly that. So putting in the developers, the builders that they engaged had a certain level of consciousness. I remember reading about them because they had received awards about how to build homes, how to build homes for marginalized communities, keeping people in these communities, not bringing in gentrifiers, but actually turning the renting class into owners. And think about that. You graduate undergrad and like inside of 2 years, you buy your first home and you're building equity in your early 20s. And largely because it exists is my point. It exists. And you would love to see those type of developers, like going back to the whole Charleston historic preservation thing that I talked about on Friday. One thing about the guy from Jamestown, the developer, they also they coordinate the ball drop in Times Square. That's the developer sitting in Charleston talking about historic preservation with a plantation owner. That's the kind of large scale development things that they do, right? They're in Milan, they're in Rome, they're in Times Square. So that's big money. But one thing he kept trying to sound like this guy, but that's not what you do. You do ball drop in Times Square. You do big, large scale. You do big projects in Boston. You do big projects. You don't do this. You don't create community. But they kept using this language, but they didn't have anything that presented. They didn't have anything that really represented what they were saying. And that's the kind of pushback you have to give that I was trying to offer in some small scale. It's like, I don't think you can actually lead this conversation because you don't really do that. That's not what you do. You do large scale, highfalutin, $1 billion projects. right? And then you come to Charleston because that's the appetite. But my point in saying all of that is saying that this exists. Like there are people planners, city planners who really care about growth and sustainability and about rising sea level change, right? It exists. B-Man, you said that's such a good point. I don't know if you responded to. Oh, cool. Thank you, DJ. DJ Euphoric Beer. It says, B-Man, you said that's such a good point. People who are under-resourced are way more likely to be community-oriented. We see it all the time, but we emphasize crime and don't try to get to the root of it, right? I'm gonna let a little bit of this play, a little bit more play, and then we're gonna switch out.
It keeps communities together, but it also builds diversity. It builds innovation. It builds insight.
I think this is this is Amsterdam.
Inclusiveness for me means affordable. If I look now in the city, for many people it's not possible to buy a house or to even rent a house. So many starters just move out the city, although they really want to live here.
Right.
If we want to make an inclusive city, we should make much more affordable housing. I think social housing has maybe a negative connotation.
Social housing, this is why I want to show this.
We call it social housing, but actually it is affordable housing, and it's for many different people.
Social housing, y'all.
For every development, we have the 40-40-20 rule in Amsterdam, which means 40% social housing, 40% mid-income housing, and 20% market housing, which means that in every project...
Rewind that. Did you get the percentages? I love a stat. I love a funky stat now. I love Amsterdam too. I mean, last time I've been there was 2009, but really enjoy walking. Really enjoy riding like the little train system. Really enjoyed my time there. Did not partake. I was so scared to do any type of weed abroad. I kept thinking like this is before the movie Taken. I think but I was so when I went to Europe for the first time. It was 2009. I was so afraid. What was that Claire Danes movie where her and her friend get arrested for drugs, I think, in Australia or something? I was so afraid of an international incident. I'm like, I don't even want them to know I'm from America. Like I wanted them to know I was from America. I was like, I had my passport like taped to my body. I was like crazy. Anyway, it was a fun. I didn't have to worry about that, but I was afraid. I'm like, I didn't even want to do weed, nothing. Like, no, I want to be sober. But anyway, Amsterdam was super dope. Like a beautiful city, beautiful. And it makes me think about how Tecklenburg took his ass over there with Dutch dialogues and did all this like kabuki theater and didn't come back with none of the shit that this dude was about to talk about. Right? What's up, Ardent Tourists? None of the shit that this dude was about to talk about came back from the trip to Amsterdam with our mayor. None of it. Let's listen to the stats.
Buy a house or to even rent a house. So many starters just move out the city, although they really want to live here.
Ardent Tourists, welcome.
If we want to make an inclusive city, we should make much more affordable housing.
All right, listen to the percentages.
I think social housing has maybe a negative connotation to it. We call it social housing, but actually it is affordable housing, and it's for many different people. For every development, we have the 40-40-20 rule in Amsterdam, which means 40% social housing, 40% mid-income housing, and 20% market housing, which means that in every project, we at least have a huge amount of affordable housing, which I think is very important to make inclusive cities.
The Eenhoorn project is about affordability and about compact housing, and it's much more than only architecture. It's about making a neighborhood for a lot of different people. The Eenhoorn project is 4 building blocks.
Look at this. Look at this.
We did 2 blocks with 178 housing units. We designed that for different user groups, for families, city veterans, and for people starting on the housing market.
City veterans.
Mixed tenancy is very important because we want to make neighborhoods that are not segregated, where people can all live together, people from all different backgrounds. What we found very important for this block is to design housing for different user groups in the right place. So every apartment is accessible for everybody, even if you're in a wheelchair. families, for instance, live on the ground floor next to the outside space where the kids can play. The elderly are in a more confined space on the inside of the block, and the starters, who are mostly the fittest, are on the top floors of the block. Affordable housing was very important there, and we did that by making very compact houses. And by doing so, we had to offer collective areas like a washing room and a collective space where people can come together outside of their apartments.
So they made these communal spaces. So like so they I guess they prioritized a number of units, right? And then they had to make certain spaces communal spaces. I'm not mad at this. I was resisting at first. I'm like, okay, wait a minute.
In the Netherlands, approximately 30% of the housing stock is social housing, which means we have people from all different social backgrounds living in one neighborhood. And I think that is really important to make good cities, instead of putting the affordable housing only in the fringes of the city.
Megsy, me too.
Small footprint design has a big role in terms of how we design our cities and well-being. One of the errors that cities have been doing is thinking that by building a bunch of high rises, they are going to accommodate a lot of people without truly understanding what are the needs and then how people want to live.
Yeah, we see this in China.
There are great examples across the world of density done right. One of my favorite examples is co-housing.
Did you hear what she said? Density done right. So social housing, co-housing, density done right. Social housing, co-housing. Again, I was resistant. You talking to a woman. I became an RA almost exclusively because I didn't want to share a room. Like, I hate roommate situations. I do. Right? I'm real resistant, but I realized that, Mika, what are you resistant to? Like, we're going to have to start planning like this. We're going to have to start living like this. Like, thinking about these options. And I've seen this already happen. Y'all know this. This happens in the upstate, probably, maybe like an Asheville area. I've seen it in Durham, North Carolina. There's these communal spaces or these lots of land or acreage, like 30 acres being purchased by a collective, and everyone has their own housing unit, but then everyone has shared responsibilities or shared spaces. And I just think it's really, we're going to bounce out. I guess we're going to watch most of this 12-minute clip, but it's so co-housing, y'all, co-housing.
It's about bringing different families together in a development, but instead of living independently, they share amenities such as the community garden, laundry.
Yes. Look at
they are
this.
Smaller spaces.
I wouldn't mind. Look at who got books in the laundry room? What? That makes you stay in there and talk to people too, right? You got books in there, like, oh, what you reading? Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna leave this book here, so someone else can read it. Oh, what you using, Downy? Mm-hmm. No, I'm a 7th generation girl myself.
But they are trading off those private spaces that otherwise they wouldn't be using for common spaces where they can garden, where they can be together, where they can actually practice the things that they love.
B-man, yes.
High-rise public housing, sometimes as 20 to 30-story high towers, still dominate Melbourne's skyline. While the post-World War II urban renewal blitz added towers all over Melbourne, especially in some of its most desirable suburbs.
Okay, I'm gonna bounce out because I want to read the app. I want to show off my friends. I want to show off my friend Amron. Like, I want y'all to know, like, this is what I love about organizing with Friends of Gaston Creek, FOGC, is because I've met so many amazing, rad people. And so this is my friend Amron. She probably gonna hate me that I screenshotted this from her Zoom. Amron is so dope. Like, this is my girl, right? And so last night she presented her thesis. She's a student at Pratt, right? And so I love this. And she makes the art too. So this is the cover of her thesis presentation. It says, I don't have her issue statement or anything. Community-based approaches to watershed planning. And this was about watershed planning, but she talked about and touched on some things that impact housing and ways, forward-thinking ways that we have to adapt to an ever-changing world. And I just love the fact that people are actively thinking about and planning things or have the ideas and solutions. We just have to access them. The other thing I wanted to show, again, I have the book here, Just City. I wanted to read the abstract to y'all, Just City. It's a textbook, so I'm not telling y'all to run out and read. It's really academic as fuck. But I got friends that go to Pratt, so I can talk about these concepts with them. But try to make it as obscenely large as possible. Okay, here we go. All right, so this is the abstract. So for much of the 20th century, for much of the 20th century, improvement in the situation of disadvantaged For much of the 20th century, improvement in the situation of the disadvantaged communities was a focus for urban planning and policy. See, this is where I regret dropping out of public policy, my master's program. All right. Yet over the past 3 decades, the ideological triumph of neoliberalism has caused the allocation of spatial, political, economic, and financial resources to favor economic growth at the expense of wider social benefits. The author, Susan Feinstein's concept of the just city encourages planners and policymakers to embrace a different approach to urban development. Her objective is to combine progressive city planners' early focus on equity and material well-being with considerations of diversity and participation so as to foster a better quality of urban life within the context of the global capitalist, it's so academic, within the context of a global capitalist political economy. Feinstein applies theoretical concepts about justice developed by contemporary philosophers to the concrete problems faced by urban planners and policymakers, and argues that despite structural obstacles, meaningful reform can be achieved at the local level. Okay, all right. It's a textbook, but it's like, it gives you so much insight, right? So, yeah, I'm not going to keep reading the abstract, but just Google it, do your Googles. Also, I know Susan has spoken, like, done presentations with the New School on YouTube. You can kind of, very academic conversations that she's leading, but really, really dope. And I think that when you have planning officials or have people at the helm designing or coming up with ideas for planning, I really hope that they rooted in something like this, like the Just City or Feinstein's other book, A Tourist City. But you know how it go, right? You know how it go. It's achievable. You have to have the political will, but I know where we're at. I know where we're at in terms of Charleston and what they give a fuck about. But I still, the point of this live stream also is to show you proof of concept, other places, whether it's in Melbourne, Australia, or the Netherlands, but also acquaint you and help you make contact with the thinkers who are actually actively planning cities in a more sustainable and affordable way, right? You can't leave. What'd you say, Nicole? You said you can't leave if you can't afford to live by yourself, right? Affordable housing is 100% a gender justice issue. Yes, it is. Yep. You said never too late. Thank you, K-Bells. Thank you, cousin. I'm going to call you cousin for that. Yep. You all are so smart. They are. They should be running for... All y'all, all my followers got to run for office and got to... All of y'all. File. Okay, so now I want to indulge me a little bit. So also last year, or for me, before Meek Miss was incorporated, established, so pre-Meek Miss, but my birthday, when I turned 40 in 2020, shout out to Kendra. Oh, Kendra, what's your last name? Shout out to Kendra, a follower on IG. She sent me, she nominated me for this. And I'm going to show you something because it's going to lead into our next part of the conversation.
Dear Year of Rest 2021.
So shout out to Kendra. She nominated me for a getaway with Rachel Cargill, this collaboration. I know some of y'all really like Rachel. I don't engage with the content that much anymore, but I know she's a big muckety muck. But less about Rachel and more about like what this really made me think. So getaway, Year of Rest. So on my birthday, I drove up to Asheboro area of North Carolina, and I had a day of rest for my birthday. And I also had to work. So I didn't know how I was gonna do it. I brought this big ass PC of mine. It's an 18-inch laptop. It's huge. So I brought this because I had to. Evelyn, was you there, Evelyn? It was the Working Family Party. The Working Families Party. It was a big video call, and Shatira Keneal, who used to work for Working Families Party, she led the call, and other people. And I was in the mountains, and I was using my phone as a hotspot. I don't know how I got the best Wi-Fi from my phone. I'm in the middle of nowhere in the mountains. It's supposed to be a day of rest, but I had to show up because Shatira needed the support. It actually was a dope way to kick off my birthday. But I was there. That's what I was doing in the night leading into my birthday. But I had an amazing time. Let me just play this and stop talking.
You might be struggling with that. You think you don't deserve this.
Yay, be man.
You do.
Be selfish while you're there.
Yes.
And do all the things that feel good and right to you, and to maybe be open to this being a new experience.
We see you shining. We see you grinding. We see you aligning. But now take time to align for yourself.
I hate rhyming people, unless it's hip hop. But like, what this is like, so basically you nominate someone for a day of rest. Getaway gives a one night stay at one of their locations, which I am definitely going to book like out of pocket. I've been wanting to go back to one of the other locations, probably the Asheboro location. And it's a great thing to do with friends because it's not that cost prohibitive either. And your friends can book their stay too. And y'all can kind of like, it'd be super dope girls getaway. Hillary, if you're listening, Evelyn, if you're listening, I would love to do it. All right. You two specifically. Yeah. Hillary, Evelyn, Rebecca, who doesn't watch, but Rebecca too, and Amron. I'd love to do this. But basically I was nominated and I got my day of rest. And they're talking about, these black people are talking about their day of rest.
Time to tap into yourself, to pour into yourself, to love on yourself. Because without you, your work will not exist.
I am so proud of you. This hopefully will be an on-ramp to the ways you continue to show up for your own wellness and for our well-being as we continue towards revolution.
She makes revolution sound so romantic.
At Getaway last year, and it was an experience that I was looking for with all of the whirlwind going on in my head around the pandemic. And I decided while I was there that the lovely feelings and experience that I was having needed to be an opportunity for as many other Black people as I could find. And so before I even left the property, I reached out to the team at Getaway and said, I think there's possibility here in how we can serve the community.
I would love to see some white folks do that in Charleston, like leverage their relationships. And so I'm now indulge me. This is the personal part. So I'm gonna show y'all where I stayed. Shout out again to Kendra. So I'm gonna give y'all a little, hopefully it works. So this is just me walking up to the outside. So this is a little getaway, the little rolly cabins, right? Little mobile cabins, right? Super cute. This is when I was like, okay, wait a minute. And this like right here, this view right here. Whoo, this view. Look at my Trader Joe's. Bro, bring groceries. Don't be out there without no groceries. Okay, let me see the next one. I want to show y'all. So when we get into the cabin, it's really cute, quaint coffee. They give you like the basics in there and everything you need. And then there's the little bathroom area. Yes, right? Very Instagrammable, but more importantly, very restful. And the last but not least, it's the outside area. So it's like fire pit, parking. You can park your Nissan up this steep ass hill and not shit bricks all night because the emergency brake is on. But this is a little cabinet, right? Oh, cabin, excuse me, not cabinet, cabin. And I just thought it was super, super cute. And it was very, I had a very, very, after the Working Families Party call was over, I had and that wasn't stressful either. That was actually fun. But it was very restful. And yes, I did watch Netflix After I saw how dope the hotspot worked, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm watching Netflix up in these mountains. I didn't go outside. I didn't want to be by myself outside. I was by myself, which is cool. It was really good. And then like in the morning, another family was there. So they have cabins with like loft spaces, I think. Or like, I was wondering like how them kids and parents all was in one cabin, but maybe it was like this cabin right here. You see it? They like all of them are kind of different. So you can see like, this is so cute. It's just a really cute little space. And it made me think about, I'm like, Mika, well, could you live and like, that's part of the reason why I chose the studio apartment. This is the smallest apartment I've ever rented in my life. I've always gone for like, well, I made good money so I could get bigger, but I've always been relatively like, I'm single. I don't have kids or anything like that. So, but I have a kid in terms of a living boyfriend. But like, other than that, it's always just me. So I started thinking, I'm like, well, let me see how black people is doing this, like this little living thing. Look at all this stuff I was watching. So I said, let me, oh, no, it's up here. Let me look at, like black people are also talking about affordability. Black people are also having conversations about like where they could live, redefining, I guess, livability, affordability. So this story right here, I love this story. This is I found a bunch of clips on this young lady here, but the apartment therapy clip was the best. Let's watch it together.
To be able to walk into a home that you've designed, that you've built from the ground up, is kind of badass. My tiny house was built specifically for me.
Let's do it, Tom.
I believe tiny houses offer an opportunity for wealth building, for getting to home ownership a lot quicker, and the ability then to focus on experiences in life and family versus chasing what society says is the American dream that ends up being elusive.
She talks about
hello
right.
and welcome
I hear you,
to
Joy.
Miss Gypsy Soul tiny house. 360 square feet of...
Yo, Joy, I'm right there with you, Joy. That you don't want the loft space, right? My big ass cannot.
Tiny house luxury. Come on in.
Let me not pause it. I want to play this. Thank y'all for chatting.
This tiny house was the realization of
we will, Hillary, get it on the calendar.
Started 25 years ago. Downsizing was something that I've known I've wanted to do since my daughter was in kindergarten, and she's 31 now. I was a young single mom, having to be very responsible and make decisions based on finances, and I knew that once I was past all of that and she was headed off into her own, that I wanted to be able to make decisions kind of based on wants versus requirements. I just wanted a lighter lifestyle. I am what I like to say a girly girl. So I have a nice sized bathroom, full counter space, washer dryer combo, bathtub, shower.
Ooh, April.
And I have a macerating toilet. I wanted to make sure wherever I parked my tiny house, I had
she got a bathtub in her tiny home. I didn't even know you could do all this. Like, I'm sorry, I know I already watched this too, but.
I am what I like to say a girly girl. So I have a nice sized bathroom, full counter space, washer dryer combo, bathtub, shower, and I have a macerating toilet. I wanted to make sure wherever I parked my tiny house, I had a bunch of light, and I think I have 17 windows, so I certainly accomplished that. Light on all sides.
Okay.
I didn't need the storage stairs that you'll see in a lot of tiny houses, so I wanted my stairs to be more focused on the aesthetics and decor. Cooking is not my favorite thing to do. I didn't dedicate as much space to a kitchen as maybe some other tiny houses do. But I wanted to be able to include my walk-in closet, which is not as common for a tiny house. And that's one of the big things about designing your tiny house. You get to design it how it works for you.
The reason why I love this clip about this tiny house and this woman is because it's like a more, I know like when the whole, cause I was a blogger, Pink Verbena. I wrote about and published stories about tiny homes. I visited tiny homes, all that, right? I like this because it seems realistic, like a real like not, hey guys, we want to get rid of everything we own in life ever. We only have 2 shirts and we got 3 cats and 8 kids, but we make it, no, stop. I'm not, nobody living like that. Nobody living like that with 1 shirt. No. And just a shower stall. No, I need to soak. I want to soak my body. Like I just like it. It's not so much that she's trying to pack all the things you will find in a traditional either apartment or home. It's just that you can design what you can design it. Like the possibilities are infinite. And I feel like these are just more realistic for people who ain't just all here just eating granola and wearing Birkenstocks. You know, for those who regularly use shea butter. I'm just saying, like, can we talk about real shit, like real tiny living and not like that extra crunchy kind?
This dream for me started out as an RV. All of my friends and family knew that I wanted to have that kind of mobile, freeing lifestyle once my daughter was grown. In my downsizing process, I didn't want to feel like I was really giving up things. I've lived in some really nice spaces and still wanted to feel that same level of comfort and enjoyability. As I started looking into the RVs, they were in the $300,000 to $500,000 range, the ones that I like. Of course, there's some cheaper, but I kind of have some high-end taste. A dream can take a while to manifest. At any point you change your mind, you get to dream a new dream. The tiny house ended up being a fraction of the cost of the RVs that I was interested in. I initially thought my tiny house was going to cost about half of what it cost. One of the mistakes I made early on as an inexperienced builder was trying to gauge the cost of my build from someone else's build. And in hindsight, they had done all of the work themselves on their tiny house, had done it over, I think, maybe almost a 2-year time period. I used all contractors. My build happened in a matter of 3 months.
Yeah, I'm not DIYing
a lot of my material
this.
was expedited. I always caution new builders to make sure that your factory...
That's the other thing too, like the crunchy tiny homers be like, oh, we did it from scratch. Like, I'm not trying to buy no damn empty container and retro, like, no. Contractors did my home.
Apples for apples.
Look at this.
When I built my house 3 years ago, I probably paid about $85,000 total. My lot rental is around $500 a month, and that includes my utilities. That is probably a fourth or a fifth of what I have been paying for an apartment in Uptown Charlotte.
Damn. This is why I want to show it too, because it's in Charlotte. It's in North Carolina.
If you look at the tiny house community, you really see it as a young, white, hipster movement.
Come on.
I'm neither. There are very few people of color in the movement. There are more coming. There's the preppy schoolies and the van dwellers who are buying the expensive Sprinters and traveling, California, and they're surfboarding, and you see all their cool pictures. And then you've got the segment of people who live in a van because they don't have anywhere else to go.
Come on.
There's some train of thought around whether tiny houses are actually poverty appropriation, where people have the financial privilege to choose
poverty
to live
appropriation.
This lifestyle versus people who have to live the lifestyle because they don't have. One of the gray areas of tiny houses is that cities don't necessarily allow you to park them in urban areas.
Nope.
Rural areas and RV parks are more welcoming to tiny houses. Those aren't some of the safest spaces for people of color. And while all the books could tell you about a tiny house build and all of that kind of stuff, what they didn't prepare me for, especially as a person of color, was racism. Trying to make sure there's representation in the overall community. Someone likened it to pushing a boulder uphill.
And they make the laws so
challenge
hostile toward this concept.
Most of the cities have housing crises. Affordable housing is a challenge wherever you go. If cities would consider tiny homes as opportunities, that brings in more people.
K-Bell.
It's been totally disappointing because you're thinking we're building community and this is new and this is innovative, and you realize it's still not a community, because if everybody's not represented in the community, it's not a community.
Come on.
True community, everybody has a seat at the table, from all backgrounds, all walks of life, all financial statuses. It's equitable.
Yep, Evelyn.
There are always, I think, going to be those differences. I don't think the people who have the financial...
KCJ team. KCT. That's why. It ain't got nothing else to do. Exactly. That's it right there.
Privilege are necessarily wrong, but I think they have to have an awareness.
We ain't see No Man Land. What's with Francis Dorman? I ain't get to that one yet. It's gonna take me another year, like Parasite did, Evelyn.
Awareness of the other segment of people who are
I'll have to watch it today.
They have no options, and there's somewhere along there that the conversation has to happen, so that you're pulling people along.
It did look rough.
Blazing a path that everybody can travel versus the two separate paths.
We about to wrap up. I just wanted to...
There's a lot of noise in the world, expectations of how you should live your life, what success looks like, what financial wealth looks like. The traditional definition of wealth looks like
stuff.
Big, a lot of square footage,
a lot of stuff.
High payments, excess, more looking like money, and a tiny house is definitely going in the opposite direction, and I think a lot of people frown on it because it looks like you're giving up. People of color are dead last in percentages of home ownership. If you've already had the big house, you sell the house and you're now downsizing by choice.
K-Bell, seriously, nothing, and this is not an original take, this is from somebody else, probably Twitter, but as the pandemic started to just wreak havoc on all of our lives in every area, what did we see with restaurants, right? That was the big story. Restaurants got to close, or you can't have people inside because the virus circulated, more so indoors and in enclosed spaces with poor ventilation. What did you see those restaurants in cities like New York especially? It's because I spent some time in New York during the pandemic. You saw these restaurants erect these structures, and not all of them were created equal, but I was on Manhattan. I was right near near Wall Street. We went and we ate after this. We did this whole Black Wall Street tour back in July, and then we went to eat, and I forgot the name of the restaurant. But anyway, we're near Wall Street. We're not too far from Wall Street, and we eat outside. The tables were set out. It's summer. It was fine. No rain. No nothing. And then across the street was another restaurant, and I'm telling you, their enclosed sidewalk structures look like fucking tiny homes, like ceiling fans and sconces and art and flowers and electricity. And what does that make you think of? That makes you think that if we really wanted to solve the housing crisis, we could erect, granted, those weren't insulated, but you could create housing structures like that. These restaurants did it like that, right? You put a door in there, some insulated shit, maybe just some sort of heating tools or appliances that are safe, and you got a home for somebody who's houseless, right? So K-Bills, when you said think about people who got evicted, especially North Charleston, the eviction rate, it just makes you think about if there is a will to do something, you'll see it. But what it doesn't do, you don't see it when it comes to prioritizing poor people, houseless people, or those who just can't afford to live in Charleston or areas like Charleston. Yeah.
That's a different sell for a person of color who may not have had and is still trying to pursue the American dream and achieve the house. And if the tiny house looks like work, or it's kind of like the Laura Ingalls Little House on the Prairie deal, that's not something that sounds very interesting, which is one reason that I share my story so that they can see what
I don't
tiny
want
house can be.
I don't want crunchy house. I want that.
From a maturity standpoint, having lived life, I realized that wealth is more in life experiences and opportunities versus things. Your dream is for you, and it's not for everybody else. I designed a life that I loved.
That part.
It was definitely choices that were made so that I could achieve the tiny house dream for me. It wasn't for anybody else.
That's right, Brienne. Yep. And I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna confide in y'all before I dip. I want one more clip. I want to show y'all black people living tiny. But one thing I used to be legit insecure about, right? This time where I was an executive with Target, and I never, like, I could have bought a home. I had the salary, I could have bought a home, and I just kept saying, well, you know, the nature of my job would have me in different areas all the time, and all of that, right? And I just and then I don't know if I wanted to live and set up roots in Philly. Like I honestly, Montgomery County, Pennsylvania, yeah. Philadelphia County, no. And I just hesitated and I resisted it. And then even when I became a VP in training with Trader Joe's, I resisted it even more. Like I just didn't, I don't know, maybe I didn't want to own, I wasn't sure where to set up roots. And so anyway, years go by and I kind of felt, now I'm like in this place of regret. Like, Mika, you could have, you know, had something. Maybe when you moved, it could have been an income property. You could have kept it and just moved down here and figured things out. And I was very insecure about like not having purchased a home, especially when you have an overachieving twin brother who's doing everything like at 25 by 25. But no, like I was really insecure about it for years. And then like, the older I get, the more I'm like, you good. Like, what does success look like? What does adulthood look like? It don't have to look like anybody else's picture. And I know that, like, y'all might think I'm fiercely independent. And maybe I am. But but still, like, that was an insecurity. Like, oh, you're a woman of a certain age. You don't have, you don't have this, you don't have that. And, like, that's just things and stuff. And then when I moved into this space, that's exactly how I said I didn't want a 2-bedroom. I didn't want a 1-bedroom. I just wanted to live now the price tag ain't tiny, but I wanted to live in a space where I wasn't hoarding a lot of stuff. All right, so this is the last clip I want to play. This is the gorgeous bohemian, like speaking of vans. Now the van thing, I ain't there. Maybe.
Hey, I'm Nikki.
Maybe converted a van. I don't know. Tell me y'all in the chat. Van life, thumbs up, thumbs down. Van life.
Nami Mayes. And this is our van, Carmen Van Diego.
Carmen Van Diego, that's so cute. KCJ. Run your race.
So when you first come in, this is gonna be our kitchen area. All right, so we have a propane
Hillary, your friend did what? Van life for 6 years?
Stove with 2 burners and tea. That's not always here. We usually put that away.
Tea.
We have a adjustable sink so that if we want to go outside and shower our feet or wash something off or whatever we need to do or fill up our water Brita filter, we can do that. So this sink is attached to a 40-gallon fresh water tank with a filter that is actually under here. Let me show you guys. This is our 40-gallon water tank. We also have our printer. We have some stuff to like play outside, some extra dry food in case we are off grid for a while. This is our amazing spice rack that I
love that she didn't like I'm not saying this place is messy, but it's lived in. And I love that it's not like super, like whenever a car parks outside my window, I'm gonna be looking. I love that it's not super like perfect and Pinterest ready. Like I like that it's like a little messy because that's how it's gonna look.
Enlisted my family to help me glue these little magnets on too, and so it's easy for me to spice up the food. This is our refrigerator. It is a Dometic fridge. I don't know the numbers because my husband and I actually did not build this. We decided we wanted to do van life and we found somebody and they did it. So we have kombucha in here that actually just exploded right before we started this, so that was great. Moonshine because we're in the old Smokies, some whiskey, some veggies.
She's like moonshine because we're in the Smokies.
Yeah, this is actually a gift that we got from our cousin. It's a cutting board. It's a wedding gift established June 24th, 2020. And we made it into a door to our pantry. So you can see, again, you have to always put your hand up just in case something hits your face. So this is a lot of just...
Ain't nothing bohemian about her nails. I'm loving her whole vibe. Ain't nothing bohemian about that acrylic set though, sis. Go get it.
Dry food, coffee, honey, things, spices, rice, all the stuff that we use, snacks. We eat out almost every day. All right. So this again will probably be there for a while. We use it a little bit when we're in the Smokies, but most of the time we're eating out. This is going to be all of our drawers
No,
for
Nicole, no.
very important. Collapsible things. This is a collapsible funnel so that when we're making kombucha.
I love that she just got a junk drawer. Like usually when you see these tiny homes, they're super perfect. Like, and the storage is like everything. Storage everywhere. Storage in the electrical outlet. Like storage is just everywhere.
Which I know that's weird that I'm making that, but we went to a harvest host and it was a kombucha farm. And my husband is a soda drinker, so he made a deal with me that if I made kombucha every week, that he would lay off the soda. So he's keeping up his end of the deal, and I am exploding kombucha all over the ceilings. All right. We have this drawer, which we covered ourselves. Everything was wood when we first got in here, and we painted everything white and got the drawers covered. This is going to be where our pots, pans. This is going to be our tea drawer. We have our NutriBullets, some teas that are family.
All right. I'm gonna go do your junk drawer, and then there's all the power panels up there, yada yada. It's just like it's a lot.
We did the 9 to 5, and you know.
I like this part. This is the part I like. This is the part that resonated with me.
And you know, to us, we knew that we just wanted a change. We wanted to be able to live more free, and that's where entrepreneurship came. And after doing it for a couple of years, being able to now live in a van, I mean, a lot of people always ask us, hey, how are you guys able to afford this? What do you guys do for work while you're on the road? And I mean,
so we've been retired from 9 to 5 for about now 8 years.
Yeah, quite some time.
Quite some time. And we've ventured into a lot of different things just because we did not want to have to work a 9 to 5. So it was like whatever we had to do, whether it was an ice cream truck, whether we started our own car.
Evelyn, you asked the question of us HGTV watchers. I just saw it though. Like, what do you do for a living? Because like old girl said, Jules said in the other piece, like, is this poverty appropriation? Like, what do you do? Because this is not cheap. Like, and let me not say it like this. I'm sure that there are trade-offs and there are things that make it more financially feasible. But we really need to know about your source of income. Like, it really is important for sure. When you watch HGTV, House Hunters, it blows my mind. It's like, I'm a retired political cartoonist, and my wife makes granola. Like, it just be crazy. Like, ain't no way.
Dealership, we've done network marketing, and so we've started
Joy.
A university that's called Freedom University.
Based off the book.
The book, not the ice. So
they self-published books.
My baby is.
She must be selling that kombucha in the Smokies. She must. And no shade. I'm just joking. But like. Yeah, you gotta keep hustling like this. It's a pretty van. I wish they would have shown. Maybe they do, and I'm talking. I wanted to see more of the sleeping areas and the bathing area. Here we go. Here it is. Oh, look at me. That's exactly what my shower looks like. All that dry eucalyptus.
And so this is our mini shower. We really wanted to make this feel as much like home as possible if we were gonna move.
I ain't think it was gonna have a shower in it. Damn.
From a actual stationary place to being on the road all the time. And so we got this really cool shower tile that my friend's mom told us to do green. I want to do everything white, and she was like, no, you need some pops of color. Do what you want. You only live once. And so we got green, and I absolutely love it. It's one of my favorite parts of the van. And so we can go to the bathroom. It's a compost toilet, a Nature Heads compost toilet, where you kind of aim for the holes in the front for the liquids, and then you aim in the back for the deuces, okay? And we have these little things, our incense, we have our spray just in case anything happens. And then the most important thing, you need to spray vinegar after toilet runs, just so everything, because it doesn't flush. So it actually is no smell. We have had no smell in here. It's just, just to wash everything down. So it sounds a little gross. Yeah. Bob right here is our third passenger, and so he does a lot for us. He is our coffee table whenever we want to sit up there at the...
Okay. This is a lot.
Lotions and hair products, baby hair gel, all of the above,
baby
toothpaste,
hair gel,
all of that. And then over here is going to be our master library. This will be our master pharmacy, okay, and spa number 2. And so this is going to be all of our super green food capsules, our makeup removing stuff, basically whatever we need to be able to stay healthy. This is our current favorite doctor right here. It's a superfood vitamin, so that we...
Girl, go ahead. Go ahead, girl. Your green food capsules. It's cute. It's just not like, this is cute for a young couple. Nicole, maybe you could get a kid up in there, maybe one child. I don't know.
Is we use these pillows as extra holding and extra storage. So all of our coats are in here, all of our like pants are in one. Every single one of these pillows, except for the 2 that we sleep on, are going to be filled with things. All right, so that we can be ready for.
That was so be my move right there. Let me get me some empty pillow covers and just put my fucking winter coat in that shit.
Any weather or any occasion. All right, so let me tell you what's underneath each of these.
Evelyn.
This is gonna be all of our cooking supplies, and also our heater is under there. So if you look right here, if you can see, it's a Webasto heater. We actually started van lifing in during Christmas, actually the day before Christmas. And so this came in handy, and it comes out right here. It shoots the air, hot air, and it gets really warm in here.
I'm just gonna mute it. K-Bells, exactly what I'm thinking. So they just splash bird baths, no shower. It's not no shower. You just washing up. You would have to live on a campground that has a shower or something, or near one of those pilot gas stations that have the showers.
Our swing that we hang up here.
Oh, no. Gym membership. Shower at the gym. Shower at the gym. And I'm not even being funny, because I know people who are houseless actually do plan like that. People who do have to live outside their vehicles, like to the earlier woman's point, Jewel Pearson's point about, like, there are people who actually have to live in vans that aren't outfitted with all this, right? But they, so I don't want to make light of it, but if I did this by choice, though, I would have to live near a pilot or a banging ass gym.
It also has toiletries, our rollerblades, all that.
We showing black
over
people
here is just a little bit more storage for like
It's
clothing, really bulky things. Our sleeping bag is over here, and then all of our electrical is under here. And you can see whenever things go out, we just master reset it with this control board, I believe is what it's called.
Okay, the fuse box. Okay, yeah, now I'm done. But yeah, I just wanted to show black people off the grid. Your kids will wreck that in a second. Yeah, they just, yeah. Yeah, I think that, like, Nicole, you said something earlier in the chat. You said, I'm always curious, too, because, quote, my parents are rich or my family comes from money is always hidden, always. It's always marketed as anyone can do it, and it's not true at all, Nicole. I emphatically agree. I wish if people had had that backup, people had that. It was known in the myth of anyone can travel. Yeah. Absolutely. What did Brandon say? Yeah, the van is a little too tight. This would be great, like to like rent or borrow for like a road trip, like a long distance road trip with like one person. But the shower thing to me is a no for me, dog. I gotta be able to at least, yeah. That other chick had a whole bag. I know it was a tiny home versus a van, but I really did want to show black people living tiny off the grid, so to speak. I don't know if that's off the grid because it's mad power, but you got what I'm saying. They live in smaller homes and kind of redefining that. And while they didn't say that, I said I'm about to go. No, I'm not. Sorry, y'all. Hey, how you doing? You're gonna have me for a little bit longer because we're gonna watch this clip. All right. So we're gonna watch this. Then we're gonna watch more black people talk about affordable housing and planning. This is what we're gonna watch. Oh, we definitely gonna watch this. This is from 2020. This is over a year ago. Well, let's watch this together.
Focused on how people.
It's really important for me to show y'all as many curated clips. And even though this is not like stuff that y'all couldn't access with just a cursory Google search, I just really want to show black people talking about planning, living in different ways, talking about affordability, a woman of a certain age, around my age, making, downsizing a little bit. I think all of that is really important. So that's why I'm showing this. Now, this one is covering up the title up the top left of the screen, adding a new dimension to urban planning. This is from a year ago.
Now to a new dimension in urban planning, taking the personality of a community more deeply into account when making decisions about it. Brandon. Our ABC transportation correspondent, Gio Benitez, joins us now with more. This is very, very interesting, Gio.
It really is, Amy. Hey there. In some communities, just getting from point A to point B is an incredibly difficult task. So right now, we're introducing you to a group of women who are hoping to make a big impact, one road at a time. In city after city, this is the new reality. Streets closed down to traffic, parking spots turned into outdoor dining. But for some, these changes are triggering a moment of reckoning, and Dr. Destiny Thomas is on the front lines. So for you, that speed hump.
It represents so much. It's an act of atonement.
For Dr. Thomas, there's more to a road than meets the eye.
This speed hump suggests that someone took the time to go to every house on this block.
Evelyn.
It's a transportation feature that requires civic engagement in order to exist.
She runs a unique California firm from LA to Oakland comprised solely of Black women, the Thrivance Group, urban planners focused on how people of color move throughout American cities.
I am working in the interest of rooting out racism from every mode. I should be able to wake up and choose for myself how I want to get to where I'm going. And that shouldn't be the most stressful decision of my day. And right now, for a lot of people, it is.
She says the key to helping a community is by engaging directly with its residents, hearing their needs. For example, to many, adding a bike lane may seem like a big help.
In a community that hasn't seen any kind of commitment, investment, or anyone leaning into the overall well-being of the community, the bike lane is a telltale sign that cost of living is going up and that we're approaching displacement.
You don't want to change something so much that then other people come in and displace the residents.
And the way you avoid that is by bringing community along every step of the way and
participatory planning
that matches the values and cultural construct of the community.
Let them know what's good in the hood. One of those members of the community, Keita Price in Oakland. She's worked with Dr. Thomas alongside many others to think outside the box, like this bike lane in the middle of the street.
It's an East Oakland culture for youth to ride in the middle of the street.
This is what it means to listen to members of the community, because here you didn't want the traditional bike lanes at the side of the road.
Right. We want to reflect the culture in the way and exactly how we ride.
And watch what happens right as we're talking about issues on the road.
Oh, shit.
A car accident just feet away.
Did you get that?
Literally, we just saw an accident right now.
Yes.
That speaks to an issue with the streets, right?
Yes, there's not many ways to make left and right turns.
Wow.
And there's only one lane, so
let me rewind that.
It's just not how we naturally.
That's
this is what it means to listen to members of the community.
And see, Philly has that bike, because they're on the bay, but Philly has the same, Philly has a similar bike culture with young kids on bikes. Yeah, there's some mischief attached to it, but there are more incidents where kids just swarm on bikes or mopeds, and it's annoying as fuck, but it don't really bother me. But yeah, like what did it look like to make to plan to accommodate cultures, culturally specific activities, just characteristics of that neighborhood, right? What would that look like?
Street.
This is what it means to listen to members of the community, because
I know
you didn't want the
Evelyn.
traditional bike lanes at the side of the road.
Right. We want to reflect the culture in the way and exactly how we ride.
And watch what happens right as we're talking about issues on the road. A car accident just feet away.
Did you get that?
Literally, we just saw an accident right now.
She's a hell of a producer. Did you get that? She was a hell of a producer.
Yes.
That speaks to an issue with the streets, right?
Yes, there's not many ways to make left and right turns, and there's only one lane. It's it's just not how we naturally kind of drive in East Oakland, and so it's creating additional issues like that.
Greetings from Oakland, California.
In Oakland, Thrivance Group strategic planner Brittany Brown now finds herself trying to help the community she grew up in.
All we were talking about was biking and walking, and I was like, yeah, in theory,
I don't know,
sure,
Joy.
let's bike and walk. But not everybody can do that. And not everybody can be a commuter. I think we tend to plan for people who have resources, and then we expect everybody else to fall in line.
We plan for people who already have resources and expect everyone else to fall in line. Yes.
And
why is that?
I can't really say anything else but racism.
First of all, look at Miss taking Zoom calls in the park without shoes with that beautiful skyline. Shout out. Let me see if I can. Yes, black girl. I like to see a black girl out in nature and taking up space. Like, I just love it. Just go ahead and take that call. I'm not going to do it because I can't see that well, and no. But I love the fact that she's doing it. I'm too busy worried about ants and bees and shit to enjoy it. I actually had spent a lot of time outside, but Sitting on the ground gives me like, I'll sit on a bench. That's me. I'm so scary.
Seriously, I don't know what else to kind of attribute it to.
And these women feel now, perhaps more than ever, they have an opportunity to be truly heard. With the pandemic changing transportation as we've known it, and the Black Lives Matter movement putting a spotlight on these issues.
Now is not the time to judge why people choose to move and navigate space the way that they do. And if you live in a body that looks like mine, or if you are a trans Black woman, or if you are a young Black man, the odds are stacked against you no matter what mode you choose.
And Gio joins us now. We're glad you're okay after that near miss with that interview. But these women were so powerful and so incredible. I'm curious, how are officials reacting to their suggestions?
Well, Amy, I got to tell you, local officials in LA and Oakland, they are listening. In fact, several changes are underway. But Dr. Thomas says a lot more needs to be done, and she hopes this message spreads far beyond California to every city in America.
I think that's a hope we can all share, Gio. Thank you very much for that very incredible report. We appreciate
Absolutely. I like that one. There's one other story. Let me see. One other thing I wanted to play. This, and then I'm going to bounce. So this is Vox. Again, if you're watching this later and some of these portions of this have been edited out, I apologize. It's just the way it goes because I'm using a lot of other people's content and sometimes they got parameters on it. But yeah, we'll play it. Usually on YouTube, they just tell you like you can't monetize it, which is fine. But sometimes I had to erase it, like all SNL stuff and all the late shows and all that stuff. But anyway, this is from Vox, how the U.S. made affordable homes illegal.
So I spend a lot of time looking at houses on Zillow. And lately, I noticed that even in places where houses are usually expensive, they seem even more expensive.
Way more. Fuck Zillow, by the way. Fuck
like
Zillow.
Here in the San Francisco Bay Area.
You know that.
What has the last year been like?
It's shocking. Buyers are paying 15 to 20% above asking price now. I had a listing in South San Francisco, 32 offers, 31 very unhappy buyers.
For years, the Bay Area has been an extreme example of how difficult it is to find affordable housing in the U.S. It's where Silicon Valley bus drivers sleep in their cars at night because they can't afford housing near work, and where school teachers can't afford to live in the counties they teach. But it's not just the Bay Area. The lack of affordable housing is a national problem, and right now it's worse than ever.
We've seen over the last year housing prices reach a level that they've never reached before in American history. They kind of just look like a rocket ship, going to the moon. Housing prices reaching a median of 3.
I feel like Jerusalem interviewed me before. She looks mad familiar. Google my phone. Jerusalem, what was her last name?
Right now, it's worse than ever.
We've seen over the last year housing prices reach a level that they've never reached before in American history. They kind of just look like a rocket ship, going to the moon. Housing prices reaching a median of $350,000 for the median American home.
Those prices have made rents more expensive and have made homeownership less attainable for millions of Americans. So why is this happening?
That girl used to work for the Warren campaign. Yeah. What's her name? I'm sorry, I keep reminding y'all.
Never reached before.
Yeah. So she works for Vox now. She used to be on the comms team of the Elizabeth Warren. Yeah. Oh no, excuse me. Oh, Kamala Harris campaign. Kamala Harris. Oh, she was texting me some fire. Okay. Oh yeah, she was trying to pump me for information, and I can't. They were trying to be cute. Oh yeah, them comms team people were trying to be cute. And she was like, "Hey girl," not in a bad way, but she was just trying to do her thing. But she was real kind of like, I was like, yeah. I'm looking at this text change right now. Hey Mika, this is Jerusalem with the Harris campaign, and she's asking me about when Cory Booker. So yeah, why would Cory Booker be more helpful? Oh yeah, she was vexed when when Brady. I'm sorry. I it got triggered. Wait. What are we talking about? I'm sorry, y'all. She reached out to Indivisible too, Christy? Yeah. Okay. Kamala Harris. Yeah. You got me. You corrected me. Yes. Oh my God. I'm sorry, y'all. I know we talking about housing, but yeah, she was confused when Brady. Cause remember when I raised the objection, like, why is Brady facilitating a town hall in Charleston with Kamala Harris when a black woman from the party should take up that spot? And I challenged that publicly. And then I remember the Kamala Harris campaign, at least the young lady, Jalissa, who ran it in South Carolina, she was like, yo, chill. And then Jerusalem, when Brady then, after y'all gave him that prime real estate, after you gave Brady that prime real estate to moderate and Brady's a white boy, to moderate the town hall and take a space from a black woman, he then defects to the Booker camp. And so she texted me like, did you see this? I'm like, yeah, okay. What you thought? You thought what? I could have told you that. Anyway, sorry.
They kind of just look like a rocket ship, going to the moon. Housing prices reaching a median of $350,000 for the median American home.
Leaving?
Those prices have made rents more expensive and have made homeownership less attainable for millions of Americans. So, why is this happening? And how do we bring that rocket ship closer to Earth? We can think of today's housing prices in terms of a supply and demand problem.
Okay, wait, hold up. When is this? Oh, this is August. All right, I think I'm a bounce too, but I got sidetracked. But I'm looking at the time. But I'm about to bounce too. But anyway, shout out to Jerusalem. I didn't even use the word like pump me like that, but try to work her sources. All right, that's why I love Christy, because you be in the mix too. Christy, I know you got tea. I know you got some. All right, I'm gonna leave it there because now I'm getting hungry and I want to go eat. But this was fun. Y'all made this really fun. I wanted to follow up because of the affordable housing stories and the news in the city council meeting yesterday. So I wanted to follow up. I think we did a good job on that, and wanted to talk about the root causes of maybe inequity, housing and affordability, and alternate ways we're living. And I wanted to talk about, I wanted to suggest toward a just city and really just inspire and encourage us all to really engage in this issue from a community perspective. But but this was fun. I'll see you tomorrow bright and early, 8:00. I got to work tonight, so I'll be working from 5 to 8, but I will be up bright-eyed and bushy till tomorrow. I don't know what we're going to talk about tomorrow. I'm not structuring the conversations that I might have, but we'll figure it out. We're going to keep it talking. Y'all can suggest something. All right. I'm going to have more tea with a lot more honey. Yes. All right. See y'all tomorrow. Bye. Love y'all so much. Bye.